broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 3. Welcome to News 6 at 3 o'clock. Here's a live look at the News 6 newsroom, your only live broadcast in Central Florida. And maybe you're watching us today because all of a sudden your phone has become a paperweight and you don't have anything else to do. We'll talk about that big Verizon outage coming up. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gaston. We like to say this is a show with all the breaking news without the noise. And we're going to start with some breaking news right now. This is a horrific story that we were reporting several months ago. Kimberly Mills, you see right there in the courtroom. It's the Lake County mom who was charged after the death of her son last spring. This is after investigators learned that boy, who was just 10 years old, by the way, and another child were being abused. Sentenced to life in prison today, she pled no contest and was adjudicated guilty. That just means she was determined guilty. After part of her plea deal, she'll testify against her boyfriend, who is a co-defendant here. His name is Dwayne Walker. But again, she was in court today for the death of that little 10-year-old boy who was being so horrifically abused. She is set to go to trial later this year.
Good to close the book on that story pretty soon once Walker goes to trial as well. Okay, the other big story obviously today is the weather.
Oh my gosh.
Not just cold for Florida standards headed our way, but cold for anybody's
If you have
standards.
skin and blood in your body, it's going to be cold.
That's right. Let's bring in meteorologist Julie Broughton. She is guiding us through the timeline of all of this. Are we talking tomorrow morning or Friday morning?
So we'll start to see some rain tomorrow morning. That is a part of the system. That will be ahead of the front that is going to bring us that big cool down. But I like the way you described it. If you have skin or blood, you're going to feel it. That really comes for us Friday morning. And we are talking about the coldest air we have seen in more than 1,000 days. You know, we've been saying since 2022, but when you say more than 1,000 days,
that hits different.
Yeah. So on Christmas morning, 2022, we were 30 degrees. We are going to 34. Area-wide, we are all under freeze watches for tomorrow night and into Friday morning. So we are designating those weather alert periods because we're talking about dangerous cold. This is what you can expect. That should say Friday morning, but 34 Friday morning, 27 in Ocala. And this is going to be a situation where you need to protect your plants and your pipes. We'll talk more about that coming up at 3:45.
And I just want to reiterate, because people are like, oh, you said it was going to be cold today and it's not. No, you guys have been saying since last week that this cold would be arriving exactly when it's arriving.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
so
Friday
morning, prepare now.
Yeah, get ready. Okay, so Julie, we want your opinion on this. Don't go
boy,
anywhere.
okay.
We have our poll. We love our News 6 poll because we like to know what you are thinking. Take out your phone if it's working.
On Wi-Fi.
You can scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you to clickorlando.com/react. We want to know, at what point are you turning on the heat in your home? And here is what most people are saying, right? Oh, it's a tie for in the 50s, or when the temps hit the 40s. Nobody's voted for never. No, that's 11%.
Yeah, there's 11%.
11% for never. Temps in the 30s at 17%. Okay, Julie, go.
60s.
Really?
But see, I'm the only adult in my house, so I get to make all the decisions. And if I get a little chill, I'm turning it off.
I would never turn it on, but my wife, it's like as soon as it's below 70, I think she
hate
turns
that
it on.
we are the same people, because once my husband and I lived in separate homes because he lived in another city, and it was winter. I could see my breath in the house, and I loved every moment of it.
You would never turn it on.
I wouldn't turn it on.
I don't like that smell when you're just turning it on and it's been a while.
That little burning smell. All right.
Julie, thank you so much.
We
appreciate it. Yeah, weigh in on our poll if you get the chance. Now, what would probably be the biggest story of the day if the weather weren't so crazy is this whole Crew 11 deal. So we've been watching the live pictures come in. I believe we have a live picture right now, taking you up to orbit here on News 6 at 3 o'clock. You're looking live on board the International Space Station as Crew 11 begins the process of trying to leave outer space. You can see them moving around in there. NASA and SpaceX are looking to undock the Dragon spacecraft in about 2 hours to bring 4 astronauts home. A ceremony was held Monday to officially hand over control. NASA announced Crew 11 will be returning to Earth about a month early. It's all because of an undisclosed medical issue, also with an undisclosed astronaut. So that's how much we know about it. Very little.
Very little.
Crew 11 launched from our Space Coast in early August. It is unclear if the next launch of Crew 12 is going to get pushed up or not. we're going to wait from NASA to hear on that. But definitely a lot of big changes happening in space.
Yeah, and when they return home, we just want to say Godspeed, because whatever that astronaut's issue is, we hope that they have a safe journey and splashdown. And of course, we'll continue to ask the questions to figure out exactly.
But we may never learn. It's a HIPAA issue, so we might never know.
None of your business,
find out,
actually.
yeah.
Well, a man is recovering after being shot by police in Longwood.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this whole thing happened after police got reports that he was armed and he was suicidal. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, explains what happened here.
In the most recent update from police, we're told the man was taken to the hospital and is stable. The encounter happened here outside of this convenience store near the front corner there, where the officer essentially said they were in fear for their own life. Now, this whole area was blocked off overnight as the investigation got underway. There was a big response from officers, and we also saw more than half a dozen bullet casings on the ground. According to Longwood Police, it was just after 9 last night when they were called to this Circle K off of State Road 434. That call came from a clerk who reported that a man in the store was suicidal and said he was armed with a gun. The first officer who arrived reportedly tried to de-escalate the situation, but those attempts didn't work. That officer said the man was concealing his hands and then suddenly pulled them from his waistband in a, quote, hostile manner. That's when the officer opened fire and shot the man, who was taken to the hospital and underwent surgery. And as evidence was gathered out here, police say they learned the man who was shot was not actually armed. Right now we're working to learn more about him and the officer who was involved. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating, which is standard in an officer-involved shooting. For now, reporting in Longwood, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, we're going to move on to another story that is absolutely terrifying, and it was all caught on camera, and thank goodness. As a parent or just anybody, if you saw something like this, I don't know what you do or what you're thinking is happening. A man was driving down A1A, this is in Brevard County, when he saw something that you do not expect to see while you're on the road, and we're about to see it. It's like two toddlers wandering alone.
Oh my gosh, you can see
they
them
were
right
in the
there.
middle. Look at them, and traffic is still going too. That is
they reach up to this
frightening.
guy. He's a stranger.
Yes, because they don't know what to do. They're babies. Okay, so the whole thing was caught on dash cam. The man was seen pulling over, running in to scoop up the little girls who had their arms, they were reaching out to him, as Matt just pointed out. We're told the Good Samaritan returned the toddlers to their family, and this is the part that will make your blood boil. Their parents, their family, did not even know those kids were not in the house. This could have been such an awful ending to this story, because people speak. If you've ever been on A1A, you know, and you're not expecting to encounter something like that. That is incredible. I don't even think that this guy called cops. He wanted the family to know first that your kids are safe.
Right back to those people.
My gosh.
And good for that driver as well. And that would be hard to see, a little kid running out into the road.
Of course.
Terrifying. So yeah, look forward to getting some more information on that in the coming days. We're just getting some new information. I just got handed a paper because we're waiting for all the cell phone companies to let us know what is going on. If you're a Verizon customer today, you've probably got into a panic like me, thinking, did I forget to pay the bill this month? Everything is shut down. My whole family doesn't have service. So Verizon having major issues right now across the country. So the website Down Detector is reporting thousands of Verizon customers are reporting the issue. The company says wireless voice and data services being impacted. Yeah, by being impacted is SOS on your phone is what it says. You've got nothing. You can only do anything on Wi-Fi. Issues started popping up around noon. Users reported getting that SOS message. Verizon posted on social media that teams are continuing to address the situation. So we were looking into T-Mobile and AT&T, asking for them to respond. We just got a response from AT&T, and they're saying, look, this isn't us. If you're having a problem getting a hold of somebody, it's probably because they're a Verizon customer.
I like how shots were fired by T-Mobile. Their statement says, T-Mobile's network is keeping our customers connected, and we've confirmed that our network is operating normally as expected. If you're trying to reach someone at Verizon, you probably won't be able to.
They are not missing the opportunity to take shots at Verizon.
Why would you? Why would you?
And it's still an issue at this point if you're a Verizon customer.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that and keep you updated as well. Well, could some students be faced to move schools?
Yeah, the discussion to consolidate classrooms in one district. We're going to tackle that coming up right here on News 6 at 3 o'clock.
Coming up in the morning, NASA's Crew 11 team returning early, weeks earlier than planned.
Yeah, live updates from the overnight splashdown, and we'll have the latest on the sick astronaut.
Plus, as the rain moves out, well, bitter cold moves in. Candace has your forecast details every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
All right, one of our big stories today we're keeping a very close eye on. You're looking live at the International Space Station as Crew 11 is now beginning the process of departing early. Now keep in mind, this is something that has never ever happened in the history of the space station before, bringing a crew home early because of a medical condition. Of course, they're supposed to splash down off the coast of California. We will keep a close eye on it throughout the show.
Walking to class may no longer be an option. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting from Orange County. Students who live nearby Union Park Middle School can take this very sidewalk to class if they want to every single day, but that could change next year as OCPS considers a plan to potentially consolidate 7 schools. They say low enrollment is putting financial stress, which is making it too expensive to keep the schools open.
Me parece una mala elección. We live right across the street, so them going to another school would be big. It's too many kids in this neighborhood for this school to be closing down.
Union Park Middle School parents are trying to wrap their heads around the school potentially closing.
My other son goes to Union Park Elementary. He's supposed to come here next year. So I was looking forward to having them in the same school.
I'm blessed enough to take my son to school, but there's others that's not.
Union Park Middle is just one of the schools at risk of closing because a drop in enrollment has made keeping the schools open too expensive. The consolidation plan to save money includes shutting down Union Park Middle School, Bonneville Elementary School, Chickasha Elementary School, Orla Vista Elementary, as well as Ellickson, Meadow Woods, and McCoy Elementary Schools.
I would have to get a bus system or figure out how to get him here to and from in the morning, and I don't know the programs, the before and after school programs that other schools have.
Parents are planning to be at tonight's meeting to get a better idea of what this could mean for them. Why is it important for you to attend that meeting?
Because I need to know what changes and how it's going to impact my son. Like, I need to know everything that's going on.
There are several more meetings scheduled over the next week at the other schools that could potentially close. We have those dates and times over on our website, clickorlando.com. Reporting in Orange County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, so of course that's a big issue for parents and of course the students who may be going to a different school. All right, so something that we love to check in on, just what people are talking about. So our guy with his hat to the back, DJ, he has his finger on the pulse of what people are, and this thing is something that Matt is guilty of.
Guilty of?
Does it all the time.
No. I'm guilty of being enraged by this. This is what I call a snail race, all right? When you're on, say, the 408 or I-4, there's somebody in the fast lane, and they're going the same speed as the person in the middle lane, so no one can get by. Apparently, you feel the same way I feel about this, according to DJ. Let's listen.
All right, we got a story today that's getting people all fired up. We're talking about left lane camping, or just driving slow in the left lane. Here's the original post on the News 6 Facebook page. It says, while it may not feel dangerous in the moment, driving slowly in the left lane can actually contribute to congestion, aggressive driving, and even crashes as faster moving vehicles are forced to pass on the right or weave through traffic. Now, Trooper Steve goes more in depth about all of this in his article. He talks about the state law and the impacts slow drivers in the left lane can have on traffic. As you could probably guess, this got people talking. Beth said, slow is relative. You can drive 20 miles over the posted maximum speed limit, and people will say you are slow because they want to go faster. Logan says, maybe don't be an aggressive driver. The extra 2 minutes you save isn't worth it. Amanda replying to how slow drivers can impact traffic. She says, so does tailgating, weaving senselessly through traffic, and speeding 20 miles per hour or more over the limit. Newsflash, if someone's going 50 into 50, that's not slow traffic. And I love this one. Phil says, I got a ticket for driving in the left lane. Going 78 wasn't fast enough. Phil, we'll have to do some fact checking, but I'm going to guess you didn't get a ticket for going too slow in the left lane. If you want to join the conversation, QR code is right here. That's going to take you to the Facebook post, where you'll also find a link to the article and Trooper Steve's video. And if you like what you see, you can watch Trooper Steve on patrol, streaming live on the News 6 app, weekdays at a new time, 8 a.m. Be there. It'll be fun. You'll hopefully learn something new every day. And before we go, a shout out to Joey and Kara for this nice new light, making things feel a little moodier down here in the basement.
It looks good.
Oh, it's plenty moody there,
okay,
DJ.
Honestly, we could do a poll on this one every single day. That nothing makes me angrier than people who do not. And then when you try to, you're not supposed to pass on the right, but you're trying to get ahead of them, then they speed up.
Oh,
then they,
yeah, that's
then
the
they
worst.
start to go a little bit
but
faster.
I have seen wrecks where you're trying to pass on the right. Nobody expects you to pass on
No,
the
you're
right,
not
so they
supposed
get
to.
over, and then that causes a crash.
I know.
Don't
So
get me started. We could do the rest of the
just
show.
get out of the left
on
lane.
This, yes.
All right.
Well, it's going to be interesting with these student loan payments. The federal government is starting to garnish wages if you owe on those student loans.
Yeah, we're going to look at who's being impacted coming up.
We are keeping a close watch on the International Space Station. You can tell very serious work happening there on the ISS. The crew on the ISS, this is Crew 11, they're coming home a month early because of some undisclosed medical issue between one of the 4 astronauts. So they're going to be undocking shortly. We're keeping an eye on this throughout the show.
The Department of Education is sending out notices that could impact millions of people who have defaulted on their federal student loans. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to explain what to do if you receive a notification. Jill, this is some serious stuff. When is a student loan borrower in default?
Well, there's actually a progression. When you miss a payment, even just one, you're considered delinquent. Once a payment is 90 days late, now the government's going to do another thing that's going to hurt you. They're going to report you to the credit bureaus, and that's going to ding your credit score. It makes it harder and more expensive to get approved for a credit card or a car loan or a mortgage. You are considered in default after 270 days of non-payment.
What is the government doing to recoup those loans?
Well, the Department of Ed is notifying these federal student loan borrowers who are in default that their wages could be garnished. This is pretty serious because it means that the government can take up to 15% of your paycheck directly, and they don't have to go to court to do this. But if you're technically in default, they can go after your wages. They also can look at federal benefits like Social Security or income tax refunds. They may tap a portion of those for repayment.
And again, Jill, we're talking about millions of people. If you are in default, what should you do?
First of all, contact your loan servicer immediately. I think there you're going to find you have 3 specific options. One is called loan rehabilitation. That's where you make 9 affordable payments over 10 months. The second is called loan consolidation, where you would get a new direct student loan. And the third is called an income-based repayment plan. Now, that's a very enticing offer because it's going to push down your monthly loan payment. But don't forget, it makes the term of your loan longer. You're adding years on the back end. The key, please don't ignore these notifications. Act quickly before garnishment begins.
As usual, Jill, great advice. You can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com.
Government taking some very aggressive measures to get that money
It's a big
back.
step. And this is why when we did a story last week on those Jones students getting the free ride to Valencia College,
right,
that's why it matters.
And people owe hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. All right, still to come, we're going to talk with our Space Coast expert about those astronauts who were taking a trip home 1 month early. And ahead at 4, we had a lot of questions about a deadly crash between a car and a Brightline train earlier this year. We're finally getting answers about what caused that crash.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock, where we have a hot show on all things that are going to be cold for you coming in the next couple of hours. Stay with us because we are going to have an update on your forecast is what you need to know. But thanks for making the time to be with us this afternoon.
And it is a really busy day here in the News 6 newsroom. Glad to have you with us. Let's take a live look out at space. We've been taking a close look as the astronauts from Crew 11 get ready to make an early trip home. They weren't supposed to be coming back. This is the first time in the history of the ISS that a crew has come back early, and they are coming back a month early. We know it's a medical reason, but that's about all. We don't know who it's involved with, and we don't know what that actual medical reason is. But again, this is pretty historic, and with such a rare event happening, we wanted to give you some perspective on why.
And I can't think of anyone better to bring that perspective than our Space Coast community correspondent, James Barbero. James, this is definitely your wheelhouse. Tell us what you know.
Well, thanks, Ginger. You're right. This is unprecedented. It's unprecedented in all of human spaceflight for NASA. NASA has never brought home a crew early from space because of a medical issue. SpaceX Crew 11 is leaving the International Space Station a month early because one of the crew members needs medical attention here on Earth. NASA also hasn't said what exactly the medical problem is, but that their vital signs are steady.
They want to get this person back on the ground in a hospital where they can do the kind of diagnostic test that you just can't do aboard the space station.
CBS News space expert Bill Harwood told me about how space shuttle astronauts have come home early, but for technical reasons. That got me wondering about NASA's plans for deeper space exploration. As soon as next month, in a mission around the moon, Artemis 2 plans to fly farther away from Earth than any crew before, and that's just the start of America's new space race. Should there be concerns about future missions in space if there's medical emergencies on the way to Mars, for example?
You know, they train for medical problems. They've got a full suite of instruments and procedures available to them on the space station. 2 astronauts on each crew are trained as medical officers to handle things like that. But obviously a major problem requires a quick trip back to Earth. And so that's an issue. That's something they're thinking real hard about, and what do they need to do to, handle any sort of emergency that might crop up.
Splashdown is expected around 3:40 in the morning off the coast of California. And just in case anyone's wondering if this makes you think about the Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams situation on the space station a year ago, you may remember those were the astronauts who were famously stuck in space, as we reported. Well, their mission was extended. They were not sick. It was their spaceship that was the issue, not the astronauts, like in this case. And you may remember, Matt and Ginger, Butch and Sonny had the best attitudes about staying on the space station. They were happy to wait it out to get to do all that extra work and science that they did over those preceding months.
Yeah,
Live in Cape Canaveral. I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, they have to have a good attitude, because what else are you going to do? You're stuck in this small space with all these people, and you can't be, have on cranky space pants. That's not a cool thing to do. But when you hear something like this, James, you know it's unprecedented. Do you think we'll ever find out exactly what's going on? Because, people will be sleuthing around because we're nosy like that.
I think if one of the astronauts wishes to come forward and be transparent about this, I think that would be the only case. Otherwise, I think NASA's going to keep quiet.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be a book written about it or something.
Or a
someday.
movie with Tom Cruise.
They could call it
Good point.
Cranky Space Pants. James Barbero.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Hey, we're just getting some new 911 calls in today about a case that gained national attention. Our community correspondent, Mark Lehman, shows us more.
The video from Flagler County deputies shows just how dangerous the situation was last month, leading to the capture of Darnell Hairston. Now we're learning the arrest may not have happened if it wasn't for a caller who recognized the suspect and called the cops.
591, where's the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. There's a child pedophile with 2 kids in his truck.
A 911 caller warning Flagler deputies about the truck seen on this dash camera video from New Year's Eve. We're now learning that call was made because the man recognized the driver behind the wheel as 60-year-old Darnell Hairston.
And how do you know this person?
He's our neighborhood child pedophile, and there's 2 missing kids that's run away from out there.
Deputies say Hairston had 2 boys, a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old inside the truck. The younger boy told deputies he had been kidnapped, tied up, and drugged. The 911 caller saying he was determined to see Hairston caught.
You don't have to continue following.
Oh, no, I'm following until I see a cop pull his over because he's got 2 kids in his car. Because if a cop don't pull him over, I'm going to pull him over, and it ain't going to be pretty.
This caller did a phenomenal job. He saw something, knew it wasn't right, called us. He followed him until we could get deputies.
While deputies were busy with Hairston during the traffic stop, the 15-year-old jumped back into the truck. Investigators say he led deputies on a chase, ramming a patrol car before crashing.
Signal 4, signal 4, signal 4.
Sheriff's office, let me see hands! Let me see hands! Lay out!
Hairston is now facing several charges, including kidnapping and aggravated child abuse. The 15-year-old is also facing battery on law enforcement charges. Meanwhile, we're told the 11-year-old boy is safe. Mark Lehman, News 6.
Still a story that has a lot of questions,
Yeah.
and you just feel for that 11-year-old, but you got to figure out what's going on with both.
Good to know that it was a nosy neighbor calling police that may have saved
I love
that
a nosy
11-year-old.
neighbor.
Yeah, got to have those. Well, let's talk about field sobriety tests. Okay,
goodness.
apparently, if you ever have to take a field sobriety test, you know what it is, Ginger? It's
Not
all,
not
it's
from
all in
experience.
all in the hips. Fortunately, I've not taken one either. But let's take you to Flagler County Sheriff's Office. This is kind of a crazy story. They got a call from a driver saying they saw a pickup truck swerving all over the road. So deputies pull over the truck driven by this guy. His name's Howard Johnson. Apparently no relation to the hotel. They said he seemed nervous, slurring his words. Deputies noticed an open beer can right there in the car in front of him. And they asked him to take a sobriety test. This was his response when asked, just walk in a straight line.
I'm a man. Yeah.
You want me to do it?
I'm pretty sure both Deputy Doggett and Deputy Patel are well versed in this as well. Just do your best, okay? It's not, just do your best.
It's because I'm a man. I don't know if you caught that. But he told the woman it was easier for her to do it because of a woman's hips. You know?
Also, she's not impaired.
Johnson was
Would be a good
arrested.
reason.
That's possible. For DUI, driving with a suspended license. Deputies learned he had been convicted. This is maybe the craziest part of the whole story. He had been convicted 4 previous times on DUI, still driving around from what the deputies think was impaired. But the thing that's going to make this possibly go viral is that only
I'm going to call that his Shakira defense. The hips don't lie. And
in this case, he still got arrested.
No, but
so
at
they
the
did
beginning
lie.
of this video, right before, he wanted to say something funny because he said when the officer walks up, he goes, "Officer, can I be funny right now?" She goes, "Let's get through this first.
Right.
Let's do this.
Let's see if you're drunk
The reason
first."
why we stopped you first. So anyway, good work by that officer in keeping her cool too, because he said a couple of other off-color things that were not appropriate. All right, Governor DeSantis' term ends this year. One man is looking to replace him, and he's making some headlines for some ideas, something that he says will be a part of his day one administration if he wins. Investment firm CEO and conservative influencer, we're talking about James Fishback, says if he's elected governor of Florida, he will push for a 50% sin tax. What's that, you might ask? Basically, people who make money on platforms, Matt, you'll be familiar with this, like OnlyFans.
Whoa, what?
They include.
Did you just do that to
They would have to fork over half their income if they live in Florida. Fishback said the money from the tax would go toward public education, which I think people would like that, crisis pregnancy centers, and a mental health czar for men. He said another goal would be to de-incentivize women from creating content on the platform. Industry experts say 17 people made more than $1 million a month on the platform last year.
I need you to clarify that was a joke.
It was
All right,
it was
clearly,
a terrible
that was
joke. Just a terrible
awful joke. Throwing me under the bus there.
That's not, no.
But you would think that those people might just move their businesses to another state if that's the case. But you know, interesting to see the different platforms
But
people
an
are taking.
interesting idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, food recalls. This is something that we talk about a lot. We have to keep covering these no matter what. Usually it's because of what's in your freezer or your refrigerator. In this case, it's schools that are really impacted by this. Did your kid eat tater tots when they have lunch? They probably do.
Favorite.
If they go do school lunch. Well, nearly 40,000 cases of frozen tater tots have been recalled. There's apparently a clear, hard plastic fragments that were found in some bags. Were probably not in your freezer. Again, these tots are from the food companies, food service companies.
Yeah.
They're sold in like 30-pound bags, so I doubt you have these. But we know Orange County Public Schools was impacted. The district released a statement saying as soon as they learned about the recall, all the products were pulled from cafeterias and will no longer be served to the students. district also encouraging parents to watch their kids, make sure they don't have any weird symptoms. I got this email from the district myself because I have some OCPS kids and was very curious as to what in the world was going on.
But that is a lunchtime staple in schools across this country. I know it was one of my favorite things.
Oh, tater tots?
Oh,
yeah,
it was
of course,
great.
all
Yeah,
day.
It was wonderful.
All right, we have a lot more coming up for you right here on News 6 at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so coming up, you can take a live look at our cameras, though. We want to take you for a tour of what's happening outside, if we're going to do that right now. But if not, we'll tell you more about what's happening when we come back. And we're going to also talk about that cold forecast when we check in with meteorologist Julie Broughton to talk about how you should get ready for some historic cold air headed our way.
Your Wednesday evening traffic alert. Pay attention, Volusia, Daytona area. Got a new one for you. Tonight, Thursday night, and Friday night, you will see a ramp closure out here along north and southbound I-95 at US 92, just north of I-4. So if you're traveling out there, you will not be able to exit east or westbound, so you're going to have to follow the detour down towards the I-4 area. There will be signs, so just make sure you are paying attention. So we'll see some construction along the Pine Hills area at Indian Hill, and then east and westbound along 528, and then of course that routine construction always happening along I-4 and the attractions area between 528 and Sand Lake. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Taking a live look at the ISS. Again, we are keeping tabs on the Crew 11 return. You can see those 4 astronauts from Crew 11 are preparing to disengage from the ISS and head on back to Earth. When they do, we're going to show it to you live right here on News 6 and clickorlando.com. When they get back to Earth, the weather's been pretty great today.
Right.
But this is a live look at Daytona Beach, by the way. Not too many people out on the beach on this Wednesday. But there's a little activity on the radar today. Meteorologist Julie Broughton joining me now. You pulled this up. Is this headed our way?
Yeah, so already you can see even a few lightning strikes up in Flagler County, and this is well ahead of the cold front that is bringing us those changes as we head into our Thursday and Friday. In fact, I do think that front will be right on top of us for your morning drive into work and school tomorrow, so plan on some slick roads tomorrow morning. But this is our big weather story. This is Friday morning when you wake up, 7 o'clock. These are our morning lows. So we're talking about 34 in Orlando. Now, this isn't wind chill. These are actual air temperatures. 27 in Ocala, 29 in Leesburg, Denellen 24, and mostly in the low to mid 30s along the coast. Now, this will be the coldest we have been since 2022. And so we do have freeze watches in place all across Central Florida. A lot of people have been asking, hey, how long will we actually be at or below freezing? So you can see we're talking about some numbers we don't see much around here. Ocala, you'll be freezing or below freezing for 6 hours. Coleman, 4 hours. Sanford, about 1 hour. So that means, are you a plant guy, Matt?
Am I a plant guy?
Yeah, are you a plant guy? I don't know this. We've worked together how long, and I don't know.
You've never asked me if I'm a plant guy before.
We've never talked about this.
I can tell you I'm firmly not a plant guy.
I am
But what
also-
should I do if I were a plant guy?
If you were a plant guy, you might want to go ahead and start thinking about bringing them in tonight, covering them, because if you have that sensitive vegetation, which I'm also not a plant person, but I was Googling what some of the sensitive vegetation is. And so a lot of plants, a lot of those tropical plants that we have here in Florida, you might want to bring them into the garage, bring them into the house, cover them. And also, if you're up in areas like Marion County, any of our northern interior counties, I mean, I've been here in this market a really long time, it'll be 25 years in April. I don't recall a lot of times that we've talked about protecting your pipes here. This just doesn't happen a lot. So when we're talking about temperatures going lower than 30 degrees, that means you want to bring in your hoses, drain them. You could also consider insulation for some of those exposed pipes, letting some of that water drip from your faucets, and opening your kitchen and bathroom cabinets. And if you're not going to be home, make sure that your house is at least 55 degrees or warmer, because this could do some serious damage when we're talking about temperatures like this. And I mean, this is dangerous. So of course, I mean, I hope I don't have to tell you this, bring your pets inside. You know, pets, you know, they need to wear their jackets on their walk, and they need to be inside. We're talking about, again, that 60% chance of rain tomorrow morning, then 30 for Friday morning, and even Sunday into Monday we'll be back into the 30s. And I don't know if you've seen any buzz on social media about snow in Florida this weekend.
Is this a thing? I haven't been on TikTok today, so
right. So we are talking about the potential Sunday of snow in North Florida, not here in
like
Central
Jacksonville
Florida.
or something.
Yeah, so up in the Panhandle. So we'll talk more about that coming up on News 6 at 4. And of course, you can keep up with all of these changes if you haven't already. We would love for you to download our free News 6 weather app. All you have to do is search WKMG in your app store, and while you're there, make sure you pin some pictures of your pets. We love to use those as well, and that's on our pin section.
All right, time now to throw it back into somebody who is an actual plant person, Ginger Gadsden in the newsroom.
Plants in the newsroom. I've been taking care of them for years. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later on. All right, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Julie. You were talking about the cold weather. Let's talk about something hot. Hot weather and a hot ticket. We're talking about the 2028 Summer Games. You can already start the process of getting tickets for this thing. Registration to enter the lottery to buy tickets for the 2028 Olympic events in Los Angeles, they are now open. Actual tickets, though, don't go on sale until the spring. But to get those, you'd have to be first to create profiles on, listen to LA28.org. Did you get that? Registering for the ticket and the lottery is free, and right now it's only open, though, to people who live in Southern California, but they are expected to open to everyone after that. They're trying to make this thing more affordable for people who live in this country, because those tickets can be very expensive. Officials say 1 million tickets to any event for $28 will happen. A third of those tickets are under $100, and 2/3 of those tickets will cost you less than going to an NFL game.
it's important to make these the people's games and have everyone able to have access to experience the majesty of an Olympic Games in Los Angeles.
And the 2028 Games will be the first on U.S. soil since the 2002 Winter Olympics. Those were in Salt Lake City. The Winter Games will return there, though, in 2034.
You've been to the Olympics. How hard is it to get those tickets?
I didn't do the process of getting the tickets, but I have a beautiful friend. He started the process 2 years in advance. 2 years.
Always good to have
What
a
are you
friend.
doing in the year 2045? I have some tickets to sell
I'm
you.
trying to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow.
My God, yeah.
Once I get
Later
that
today,
figured out.
even. Later today.
My goodness. Lisa Bell joining us as we get ready for the 4 o'clock news.
Yeah, well, there is a lot happening in Tallahassee right now. Of course, the legislative session kicked off yesterday, and as you know, lawmakers are proposing all sorts of legislation.
Yeah, your representatives are going to spend the next couple of months trying to figure out how to get their bills passed.
And so our community correspondents will be figuring out what those bills are and the process of passing those bills. Come on in, Mike Valente.
Yes. I didn't know where to stand.
Digging into it. Yeah, we're getting a little crowded. We're all family here. Tell us a little bit about what's going on this legislation.
Yeah, okay. So first, I mean, it's hard not to notice I have a thing here, an aerosol container. It's not just a useless prop because I want to show you what is on the back of this. It says the propellant nitrous oxide. So that's a food additive. Nitrous oxide isn't actually in the cream in here, but it's the propellant that helps make the cream foamy. Yes. Yeah. So there are legitimate purposes for the use of nitrous oxide. But going back to the outset of this, the bills in Tallahassee, there's one bill, HB 1341, that would propose the prohibition of a sale of nitrous oxide recreationally. Right now, you can sell nitrous oxide, say in smoke shops, up to 16 grams. Anything more than that is illegal. That is a third-degree felony. This would basically do away with that 16-gram threshold. It would say you can't sell anything, any amount of nitrous oxide.
Okay, I'm not cool. Why would we need nitrous oxide in a smoke shop?
That's a good question, and that is something that I have talked to legislators about and to family members who've been affected. For example, the Caldwell family from Lake County. They lost their beloved Meg Caldwell, 29 years old, from Lake County. She died of a nitrous oxide overdose outside of a smoke shop. The reason she was outside a smoke shop is because that's how she would get her high. She would go from smoke shop to smoke shop, buying legally nitrous oxide containers. These are marketed in colorful canisters. She would buy it the legal amount, or sometimes potentially illegal, because we do know there were undercover operations just last year in September that led to 70 felony arrests. Retail employees selling canisters over the legal amount.
That is a serious situation. All right, Mike Valente, thank you so much for bringing
so we'll have her sister
and breaking
tonight.
it down for us and
All right,
making it make sense. Thank you, Mike.
Nitrous oxide, just one of the topics that the legislature is planning to tackle this year. We're also going to be hearing a lot about AI and regulating AI.
All right.
That's right. So speaking of that, you might be in trouble for saying that. Matthew McConaughey is going pretty far to stop artificial intelligence from using his likeness without permission. The Wall Street Journal reports the Oscar winner has secured trademarks for his likeness and his voice. The trademark also covers audio of him saying his iconic line. Go ahead, Ginger.
All right.
That's right. He said he wants to create a clear perimeter around ownership, stressing consent and attribution needs to be the norm with AI. It is beginning to be such a messy space with really a concerted effort by a lot of people to create a lot of distrust, disinformation. You don't know what's real. Did he really say that? Is that really him?
Well, for career purposes for these folks, imagine if you wanted Idris Elba in your film,
and
then you could just hire an AI company to make him and recreate it, or if you wanted Lisa Bell to anchor your news.
Just create an AI Lisa Bell. One's enough.
Yeah, one is plenty.
But it's so interesting, though. We're just in waters that we have never had to navigate before. All right, a controversial vote happening last night in Orange County schools returns a piece of history where it belongs.
Yeah, the issues that some have with that move still, we'll have that for you coming up.
A finalized deal for the Hungerford property. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, and we were inside the Orange County School Board meeting when they voted unanimously to go ahead and sell that property to the Dr. Phillips Foundation. Now, this was after hearing opposition from the town council. Take a listen.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
The Orange County Public School Board approving the sale of the historic Hungerford property to the Dr. Phillips Charities on Tuesday.
I want to thank the Eatonville residents for your phone calls, emails, handwritten notes, coffees, tours, history lessons.
Members of the board said the community of Eatonville will benefit from the plan, which includes developing the 117-acre historic property into an early learning child center, a community health care facility, a pavilion, museum, and a green space.
And I do believe at the end of it all that Eatonville will be prosperous. They will have a sustainable tax base, and they will be able to move forward with this property.
The plan calls for a $1 million down payment by the Dr. Phillips Charities for the site of the former Hungerford School, with the rest of the purchase amount forgiven, as long as they make good on their development plans.
Parts of that $13 million get forgiven as they honor their commitment, and if they don't, there's provisions for that.
Well, it seems to me that their minds were already made up.
However, before their vote, members of the Eatonville Town Council made their plea, urging the board not to approve the purchase.
I understand they got a job to do as a board, make tough decisions, you know what I'm saying? And I get it, I respect it, but I'm not definitely in favor of it, I can tell you that.
The approval comes after a 4-1 vote by the Eatonville Town Council to reject the plan, after members say Mayor Angie Gardner didn't include them in discussions for the deal. You felt like the council was left in the dark with the plan?
Yeah, we was actually left in the dark. The way things had went, you know, I'll say backdoor deals with, you know, sitting down with OCPS as well as Dr. Phillips Foundation.
Now moving forward, Board Chairman Jacob says it's important for the community of Eatonville and the Dr. Phillips Foundation to work together. Outside OCPS, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
All right, that's a big story we're going to continue to follow for you. We have a lot coming up. News 6 at 4 o'clock is next, and we're getting ready for that. And of course, we're going to talk about this unprecedented cold snap we're seeing. Julie Broughton said that we haven't been this cold in 1,000 days. So that is a big number
That's a
for
long
you.
time.
Yeah, something to keep track of.
As she was mentioning, when you're talking about protecting your pipes, that's a big deal. We're going to have that, as well as we're going to go back live to the International Space Station, where Crew 11 is getting ready to return to Earth. News 6 at 4 starts right.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
I'm meteorologist Julie Broughton. All of Central Florida is under freeze watch Friday morning. I'll break down how cold it will get where you are in minutes.
When a Brightline train killed an 83-year-old woman, investigators originally thought she had a medical episode. I'm News 6's Jada Manahol live in the newsroom. They're now saying something completely different. They believed she was heavily intoxicated.
And we are seeing the terrifying moments a man scooped up 2 toddlers wandering into the middle of traffic. But first, we start with breaking news. A school resource officer under arrest accused of sexual conduct with a teen.
And police believe there could be more victims out there. Pedro De Silva is facing multiple charges, including sexual offense by an authority figure. Now, he has been with the Sanford Police Department since July 2024. He was assigned to Seminole High School as a school resource officer from July 2025 until the department fired him in December. Investigators say De Silva, who had inappropriate interactions with a 17-year-old student. Anyone with information on the incident or anyone who may have had an inappropriate interaction with De Silva is asked to contact the Sanford Police Department. You can also call Crime Line at the number on your screen. It's 800-423-TIPS. And we have even more breaking news for you this afternoon. A mom will spend the rest of her life in prison after her 10-year-old son died as a result of what has been called unspeakable abuse.
Kimberly Mills' son died in February. Today, she went before a judge to try and save her own life. News 6's Catherine Silver is live outside the courthouse in Lake County, where that mom was just sentenced this afternoon after a plea agreement. And Catherine, you spoke with the little boy's family.
I spoke with Xavier Williams's aunt, who actually flew in from out of the country to be at the courthouse for this afternoon's hearing. She tells me ultimately the family does understand this plea agreement. They want to save his younger brother from any additional trauma that a trial involving their mother might cause. But she tells me that does not take away the grief that they are still going through.
To get up every day to know that my son is not around.
Difficult doesn't describe the pain Keneal Williams says he's living with after losing his 10-year-old son. His emotional statement to the court Wednesday ended in tears before the boy's own mother was sentenced to life in prison for his death.
You are hereby sentenced to life in the Department of Corrections.
Tavares police say Xavier suffered unspeakable abuse from his mom, Kimberly Mills, and her boyfriend, Andre Walker. Pictures shared by investigators showcase the latter 10-pound weight and duct tape they say were used to torment the boy and his younger brother inside the family's home. In February, Xavier was rushed to the hospital with severe bruising, burn marks, and signs of sexual abuse.
On behalf of Ms. Mills, she would like me to indicate to Your Honor that she very much loves her children.
Mills' attorney says she agreed to plead no contest to 5 counts, including a murder charge, to save Xavier's brother from the trauma of testifying against her at a trial.
I lost it. When she said that,
the boy's aunt says nothing will ever justify her family's loss, their pain, this tragedy.
Christmas was hard. He was crying. This is one Christmas that he didn't have his brother. While she's in there talking about, oh, she loves her children, we're out here still grieving.
The plea agreement spares Mills from the death penalty, but it does require her involvement in the prosecution against her boyfriend, Andre Walker. She will have to testify against him in his trial. That's set for later this year. I'm live in Lake County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. We're also staying on top of this breaking story today. There's a significant outage across the U.S. for Verizon users. Some phones have been showing SOS since about noon today. Verizon has engineers looking into the problem and working to fix it, but so far, no timeline has been given. Well, we are seeing some showers on the radar ahead of dangerous cold weather making its way right here to Central Florida.
Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with everything we need to know about this big change that's headed our way, Julie.
Yeah, we're seeing the beginnings of that right now with a surge of moisture well out ahead of that front that you just saw that is still off to our north and west. If you're in areas like Marion County, you are seeing some pockets of heavier rain just in time, unfortunately, for that afternoon drive. As we go in a little bit closer, right on top of Bellevue, you're seeing some pockets of heavy rain that stretches down toward Leesburg and down toward Center Hill as well. All of this is pushing off toward the east. Then the front actually comes through our area tomorrow morning. So go ahead and plan to give yourself some extra time for that morning drive. That front comes through tomorrow, and then the cold air arrives behind that by Friday morning. Now, here's what it looks like for you right now in Daytona Beach. You've seen a few isolated showers. Right now, sitting in the 60s at 61 degrees. Here's what we can expect for Friday morning. We're talking about the coldest air since 2022. 34 when you wake up in Orlando, 27 in Ocala, 24 in Denellen. We'll talk more about how long this cold weather will stick around and also about the possibility of some snow in Florida by the end of the weekend. Not here. Okay. Not here specifically, Ginger.
All right, Julie, thank you. Well, take a look at this video. This is the moment right before a Brightline train killed an 83-year-old woman.
Yeah, now this happened in Brevard County in September. At the time, investigators thought the woman suffered some sort of medical emergency, but now they say she was actually heavily intoxicated. News 6's Jana Manahalal is live in the newsroom. And Jana, the medical examiner's report outlines exactly what her blood alcohol level was at the time of this horrific crash.
Yeah, guys, this report here that I have is 6 pages long, and the medical examiner's spot shows that it's 0.46 when she drove onto the tracks. That's almost 6 times the legal limit of what you're supposed to have in your system when driving. Now, according to the medical examiner's office, the cause of death was the impact of the train, but also lethal level of alcohol. The report goes on to say that it appears Mitchell was disoriented from the alcohol she had in her system and was not aware she was driving into the path of the train. Family and friends remember Mitchell as a healthy individual when the crash initially happened. citing no issues of drinking in the past. Now, when we first brought you this story, the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization talked about putting crossing arms on both sides of traffic lanes at these intersections you're seeing here in Brevard County. Each crossing gate features gates on the approaching lanes but lacks gates on the exiting lanes, making it easy for drivers not to see the warning signs you need to see before heading into the tracks. Now, last January, the group was awarded $4.9 million to move forward with those safety improvements. We'll update you on how those are coming along.
All right, Jana, thank you. An officer shot a man claiming to have a gun outside of a convenience store. This happened last night at the Circle K on State Road 434, right at Rangeline Road. This is in Longwood. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, shares what he's learning.
In the most recent update from police, we're told the man was taken to the hospital and is stable. The encounter happened here outside of this convenience store near the front corner there, where the officer essentially said they were in fear for their own life. Now, this whole area was blocked off overnight as the investigation got underway. There was a big response from officers, and we also saw more than half a dozen bullet casings on the ground. According to Longwood Police, it was just after 9 last night when they were called to this Circle K off of State Road 434. That call came from a clerk who reported that a man in the store was suicidal and said he was armed with a gun. The first officer who arrived reportedly tried to de-escalate the situation, but those attempts didn't work. That officer said the man was concealing his hands and then suddenly pulled them from his waistband in a, quote, hostile manner. That's when the officer opened fire and shot the man, who was taken to the hospital and underwent surgery. And as evidence was gathered out here, police say they learned the man who was shot was not actually armed. Right now, we're working to learn more about him and the officer who was involved. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating, which is standard in an officer-involved shooting. For now, reporting in Longwood, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Now to two terrifying moments showing two toddlers wandering in the road and a man jumping in to save them. News 6 anchor Matt Austin joins us now in studio with how this all went down, Matt.
Yeah, crazy situation. Happened on Sunday along busy A1A in Brevard County. The man says he was driving when he saw the two toddlers just wandering alone. Right there in the middle of the road, dash cam shows the guy pull over, running to scoop up those girls. They even had their arms outstretched to him, a complete stranger. Watch as he reaches for this. She reaches up, she knows she's getting saved. He said this was terrifying 6 seconds when it happened. He then was able to safely reunite the girls with their family. By the way, they had no idea the girls had even gotten out. Lisa.
Wow. That is incredible, Matt. Thank you. Hundreds of Orange County parents are trying to get answers about what to do if their child's school shuts down. 7 schools are on the list for closure, including Union Park Middle School, as well as Bonneville, Chickasaw, Orla Vista, Eccleston, Meadow Woods, and McCoy Elementary Schools. The first public meeting happens tonight. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez fills us in on what parents are being told.
Right now, students who live nearby can use this very sidewalk to walk to class if they want to every single day here at Union Park Middle School. But next year, that could all change as the school district considers a plan to consolidate 7 schools due to lower enrollment numbers, which is increasing their financial concerns.
Me parece una mala elección. We live right across the street, so them going to another school would be big.
It's too many kids in this neighborhood for this school to be closing down.
Union Park Middle School parents are trying to wrap their heads around the school potentially closing.
My other son goes to Union Park Elementary. He's supposed to come here next year. So I was looking forward to having them in the same school.
I'm blessed enough to take my son to school, but there's others that's not.
Union Park Middle is just one of the schools at risk of closing because a drop in enrollment has made keeping the schools open too expensive.
I would have to get a bus system or figure out how to get him here to and from in the morning, and I don't know the programs, the before and after school programs that other schools have.
Parents are planning to be at tonight's meeting to get a better idea of what this could mean for them. Why is it important for you to attend that meeting?
Because I need to know what changes and how it's going to impact my son. Like, I need to know everything that's going on.
There are several more meetings scheduled over the next week at the other schools that could potentially close. We have those dates and times over on our website, clickorlando.com. Reporting in Orange County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Well, Crew 11 is getting ready to return to Earth. They are coming back earlier than expected because of a medical issue on board the International Space Station, something that has never happened before. Here's a live look now as we take a look at the ISS. The hatch on the Crew Dragon just closed a little more than 30 minutes ago, and the 4 people in Crew 11 are set to undock just after 5 o'clock today. But this is a story we're all watching closely. NASA says one crew member experienced a medical issue, and the agency wants to bring them home to do some more testing. They're set to splash down off the California coast tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, we saw a launch from the Space Coast just a few hours ago.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
SpaceX launched another batch of Starlink internet satellites from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, of course, after the liftoff. The first stage landed on a drone ship in the Atlantic.
People living in Volusia County expected free beach parking. Instead, some got $75 surprise tickets.
The auto renew glitch you need to know about as we take your concerns to leaders there.
Plus, what leaders are doing to stop a toll road from going through some protected land.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Taking a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach, it has been a year since Volusia County promised free beach parking for people with auto-renewing passes. But tonight, we are uncovering an issue in the system.
Yeah, some have reached out to us saying that their passes did not auto-renew, leaving them with surprise tickets. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed went straight to county leaders with your concerns.
If you have a Volusia resident beach pass, make sure you do this ASAP. Log into the parkvolusia.org website and make sure your pass auto-renewed. You might have also received an email with the receipt. This is what my receipt looked like for my own renewal. But many residents tell me they weren't so lucky. These residents all reported online or messaged me that their passes did not auto-renew, so they were left with surprise costly tickets or turned away at the beach when they went to drive on.
Their pass is valid for 365 days from their original registration date, but now they're starting to auto-renew for 1 year at a time, up to 3 years.
Miranda Tressler from the county's Coastal Division says, as with any computer system, there could be the occasional glitch. She says citations can be appealed online. Just follow the directions on the ticket.
If your vehicle is registered or you think you have an incorrect license plate, put that information in the appeal box so that it can be reviewed by our office staff.
Now, some people's beach driving passes should have started auto-renewing in October. That was the 1 year anniversary of that program starting. Off-beach parking lot passes started January 1st. Going by those anniversary dates, between October 1st, 2025 and January 13th, 2026, the county issued over 10,500 citations in off-beach parking lots. More than 1,300 were appealed and nearly 800 of those were upheld.
As long as you register within 30 days of receiving that citation notice, we have a one-time waiver.
Keep in mind, these beach parking passes are only for Volusia County-owned lots that have these Park Volusia signs. They do not apply to city-owned lots like Flagler Avenue here in New Smyrna or the inlet parks. If you get a citation here in the Park Volusia lots, those can cost you up to $100. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
I can tell you moving forward, one place people will not be with this cold weather on the way, the beaches.
Certainly not in their swimming suit.
No.
Maybe some people in a wetsuit if they are really adventurous and want to go out in the water and surf. I don't know. But I think a lot of people are going to be huddled inside with the heat on, Julie.
I think that's good. We are talking about the coldest weather in more than 1,000 days headed our way Friday morning, and already some of you seeing the showers, so kind of the beginning of those changes. And we are talking about dangerously cold weather. Wind chill readings will be in the 20s and 30s everywhere. We have freeze advisories in place. We'll likely have a cold weather advisory in place. And we're even talking about the potential of a hard freeze northwest of I-4. So it is going to be a night tomorrow night into Friday morning where you need to be concerned about the plants, the pets, and the pipes, because some of you will be near or below freezing for 4 to 6 hours, especially if you're in areas like Marion County and into Sumter County and even northern Lake County as well. So here's a look at our freeze watch for Friday morning. Really, this starts late Thursday night into early Friday morning for everywhere except for the Barrier Islands and Brevard County. So we're talking about temperatures widespread below 32 degrees. Now, here's what you can expect when you wake up Friday morning. This is what we're anticipating right around 7 o'clock. So right around the time you're heading out for work and school. 27 in Ocala, 24 in Denellen, Bushnell at 28, 29 in Leesburg, 34 Friday morning in Orlando, and 35 in Micco. Now, here's what we're looking at for you on the radar right now. You can see we talked about this yesterday at this time, saying we would likely be dealing with some showers for the afternoon drive home today. So that is what is happening. And we're seeing some pockets of heavier rain. We even had a few lightning strikes in Flagler County a little bit earlier, from Palatka back down through Crescent City, areas like Bellevue down toward the Villages, Coleman, Bushnell, Webster, all seeing some of that moderate rainfall. Here's what we're expecting as far as we move through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. A wider lookout showing here is our front. That front pushes into our area during the morning drive tomorrow. So your clouds and rain forecast, 11 o'clock tonight, quite a bit of cloud cover. By 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll start to see those showers moving into our northern zones right around 6 o'clock from around Daytona Beach, back down through Sanford, Orlando, the Four Corners area, seeing some of that rain. We get this front to our south by around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then the cold air builds in. Not quite here yet. Our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando showing a lot of cloud cover. 64 degrees right now. 66 in Kissimmee. It is 58 in Ocala. Now, here's your hour-by-hour forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
This is Polly. She's not concerned about the weather. She's going to stay inside and stay nice and warm. 60 degrees at 7 o'clock, 59 degrees at 8 o'clock. Now, again, here is our front that's moving in overnight into tomorrow. Another front heads into Florida at the end of the weekend. You've probably seen some buzz on Central Florida about the potential of snow in Florida Sunday afternoon. That is not for Central Florida, but some of the models are indicating the potential of some snow in the Panhandle Sunday afternoon. Once that cold air already in place and some moisture moves in. So here's how it looks for our 7-day forecast. 53 overnight tonight. That 60% chance of showers is overnight in the first part of the day tomorrow, the morning drive. Then the cold air arrives and really sticks around even as we head into next week. We're seeing a lot of 30s on the extended forecast, guys.
That is quite a forecast. All right, Julie, thank you. And we want to know what you think about all this cold weather headed to Central Florida. Check out our poll on clickorlando.com/react. We're asking, when do you turn on the heater in your home? When the temp is in the 50s, 40s, or 30s, or never. So far, these are the responses. It looks like when it hits the 50s is in the clear lead right there. So just head on over again to clickorlando.com/react and share your responses.
The push to put a toll road through protected land just hit a major roadblock.
Coming up, why a decision from leaders could end in a legal fight. And a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Orange County leaders are taking a stand to block a controversial toll road through Split Oak Forest.
Yesterday, we showed you the moments advocates rallied outside the county administration building. After that, leaders voted 4-3 to fight the Central Florida Expressway Authority. The disputed land includes environmentally sensitive areas, including part of Eagles Roost Park. Some say this move gives the county more control, while others warn a highway through the forest would hurt wildlife.
It sets a really dangerous precedent for future conservation lands throughout the state. We need to have local control over our growth, and in order to do that, we need to stop bad decisions from the past.
The state approved the road in 2024. That means the debate on how to protect the forest is expected to continue as CFX prepares its next move.
Well, after a bitter fight over a historic piece of property, the land now has a new future.
The changes that could be on the way, that's coming up. Plus,
Sheriff's office, let me see it! Let me see it!
Video shows a traffic stop turning into a child rescue and a chase. The key 911 call that set it all in motion and what the caller said he'd do. That's next. As we take a live look over Port Canaveral, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now. A mom is sentenced to life in prison for the murder of her 10-year-old son, who was tortured to death in Tavares last year.
Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend, Andre Walker, were indicted on first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse charges in the death of 10-year-old Xavier Williams. Mills originally pleaded not guilty before changing her plea today and agreeing to testify against Walker, who faces the death penalty if convicted of first-degree murder. In Rockledge, we're learning the 83-year-old woman who died in a crash with a Brightline train had more than 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in her system. That's according to newly released documents. The incident happened in September of last year. Eleanor Mitchell died on scene. And in Longwood, an officer shot and wounded a man who indicated he was suicidal and armed with a gun. It happened last night at the Circle K on State Road 434 at Rangeline Road. Officers were called to the store and tried to de-escalate the situation, but the man did not comply and was concealing his hands, claiming to be armed. The man went to the hospital and he is in stable condition. Another top story, the dangerous cold weather heading right here to Central Florida.
A freeze watch has been issued for most of Central Florida. Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with what's going on, Julie.
We're seeing a lot of changes already. Beginning yesterday, we were warmer than normal. Today, we've been cooler than normal, and we are dealing with some rain as we expected for that afternoon drive home. Starting to see some pockets of heavier rain in northern Flagler County, tracking over toward Palm Coast. That extends back down toward areas like Pearson and Astor. You're also seeing some heavier rain toward Alexander Springs, down toward Big Scrub as well. And Fruitland Park, the Villages, back down toward Coleman, Lake Panasoffkee, all seeing some moderate rain. Now we'll see the main front moving through tomorrow during the morning hours. Right now our front's still well off to our north and west. This is kind of a prefrontal surge of moisture well ahead of that. So do expect some rain for your morning drive. And then once we get that front out of here, that's when temperatures start dropping. And Friday morning, we are looking at 34 in Orlando. That will be the coldest since Christmas Day of 2022, when we dropped to 30 degrees. And again, we have a freeze watch in place just about everywhere for late tomorrow night and early Friday morning, because we're talking about several hours for a lot of us being at or below freezing. So again, dangerously cold weather. We'll talk more about your county by county impacts in just a few minutes.
All right, Julie, thank you. We are learning more about what led to this chaotic scene in Flagler County. Last month, a registered sex offender was found with a child he's accused of kidnapping. And now we're hearing the 911 call that helped track him down. As News 6's Mark Lehman reports, the caller claimed he knew the suspect.
The video from Flagler County deputies shows just how dangerous the situation was last month, leading to the capture of Darnell Hairston. Now we're learning the arrest may not have happened if it wasn't for a caller who recognized the suspect and called the cops.
591, where's the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. There's a child pedophile with 2 kids in his truck.
A 911 caller warning Flagler deputies about the truck seen on this dash camera video from New Year's Eve. We're now learning that call was made because the man recognized the driver behind the wheel as 60-year-old Darnell Hairston.
And how do you know this person?
He's our neighborhood child pedophile, and there's 2 missing kids that's run away from out there.
Deputies say Hairston had 2 boys, a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old inside the truck. The younger boy told deputies he had been kidnapped, tied up, and drugged. The 911 caller saying he was determined to see Hairston caught.
You don't have to continue following.
Oh, no, I'm following until I see a cop pull his over, because he's got 2 kids in his car. Because if a cop don't pull him over, I'm going to pull him over, and it ain't going to be pretty.
This caller did a phenomenal job. He saw something, knew it wasn't right, called us. He followed him until we could get deputies.
While deputies were busy with Hairston during the traffic stop, the 15-year-old jumped back into the truck. Investigators say he led deputies on a chase, ramming a patrol car before crashing.
Signal 4, signal 4, signal 4.
Sheriff's office, let me see it! Let me see it! Lay out!
Hairston is now facing several charges, including kidnapping and aggravated child abuse. The 15-year-old is also facing battery on law enforcement charges. Meanwhile, we're told the 11-year-old boy is safe. Mark Lehman, News 6.
In Brevard County, police are asking for any information in a case where officers found a woman hurt in a shooting in Titusville. This happened around 6:30 last night on 3rd Avenue south of State Road 405. Titusville police say officers found the victim with multiple gunshot wounds. The woman is now at the hospital and is expected to be okay. Again, police are asking anyone with information about what happened to contact the Titusville Police Department. The phone number is there on your screen, or you can call anonymously through Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS.
The fight over a historic piece of property may be over one day after Orange County Public Schools approved the sale of the Hungerford property to Dr. Phillips Charities. The town of Eatonville is set to take the next step. Your Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton joins us live. And Tylisa, this historic piece of land in a historic town now has a new future.
That's exactly right, Ginger. You can take a look at this gigantic piece of land right here. This is the Hungerford property, and it's actually right across the street from Town Hall, which is pointed right over there. Now, this is where city leaders, town leaders tonight will be discussing this pretty controversial topic between them. I spoke to people who live in this community. They tell me they have a different view. How do you feel about this?
Honestly, I feel pretty good.
Some are feeling good about the future of the Hungerford land just one day after.
All in favor, please say aye.
OCPS approved the sale of the land to Dr. Phillips Charities to develop the site for the community. So with all those meetings happening, we really wanted to step outside of those meetings and go into the community of Eatonville, talk to people who live here about how they feel about this sale.
With a charity like Dr. Phillips being involved, that gives us opportunity to actually use that property for what it was intended for, which was educational purposes.
The 117-acre site was once the home of the Hungerford School, an historically black school that served students in Eatonville for decades.
All 10 of my siblings, we all attended Hungerford.
You can see Hungerford has so much history in Eatonville. It's something people tell me they're afraid of losing.
I'd like to see it stay in the community to benefit the children and revenue for the town, but not forgetting the roots.
The plan calls for an early learning center, healthcare facility, and green space.
For people are just a little concerned that their roots might get lost in this redevelopment. What do you say to that?
Well, that's the last thing we'd want to see happen. We're there to make sure that the history and the legacy of the Eatonville community survives.
The president of Dr. Phillips Charities tells me additional things will be added.
How important is it to have Eatonville at the table of this conversation?
Well, you can't do it without having Eatonville. It'd be terrible to think, Dr. Phillips, that we know so much that we could come in and tell them what to do. We need to learn and listen to them.
All right, so the president of the charity says over the next few months they will be talking with those in Eatonville about things that they would like to add. He says that hopefully they could break ground as early as October, but again, he says that's hopefully the plan. Reporting in Eatonville, I'm Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
Tylisa, thank you. Abused and lethal. Nitrous oxide has many uses, but when huffed, it can kill. And now, after the death of a Central Florida woman, the state may finally be acting. As your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti explains, a proposed bill would prohibit the sale of nitrous oxide in places where it's often found and abused, smoke shops.
I was able Wednesday to get my hands on nitrous oxide just by walking into a supermarket. Now, I know that might not sound like some earth-shattering revelation to you, but this is just another important reminder of how ubiquitous this stuff is. In this case, in this aerosol container that I'm holding, the nitrous oxide, N2O, acts as a propellant to help make the cream that comes out foamy.
And the supermarkets are not carrying these large canisters. Problem actors in this situation are smoke shop owners and manufacturers.
Lee Caldwell knows more than she ever wanted to know about smoke shops. Her sister Meg died outside of one in November 2024.
She was the apple of all of our eye.
29-year-old Meg Caldwell overdosed on nitrous oxide after a crippling addiction. Inhaling the gas is illegal in Florida, but selling it in smoke shops is not.
She would tell us, I'm buying this legally. And we would say this is harmful. She never believed that it was as harmful as it could be.
So if we take a look at current Florida statute, it's considered a third-degree felony for anyone to knowingly distribute, sell, purchase, transfer, or possess more than 16 grams of nitrous oxide. Now, if we look at this proposed bill in question, that 16-gram threshold now goes out the window. We're talking about any nitrous oxide would be illegal to possess, sell. Of course, there are exceptions. We're talking about grocery stores and supermarkets. That's because nitrous oxide does have legitimate purposes, like in a medical office or, as we showed you before, as a food additive.
If you are a restaurateur using it in a commercial kitchen, you're not headed to the smoke shop to get your nitrous oxide.
Last September, an undercover operation resulted in 70 felony arrests tied to retailers selling nitrous oxide in illicit amounts. Now, the state is looking to go a step further.
That they can turn off this whole supply chain for this illegitimate use.
Lee plans to travel to Tallahassee to testify if this is brought up in committee, but so far it has not been scheduled. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Florida's graduation rates are now the highest in state history. Statewide, about 92% of the class of 2025 received a diploma. That's up 2.5% from last year and up nearly 5% since 2022. Many Central Florida districts are also in record territory. Volusia and Sumter County's graduation rates were close to 96%. Orange County, the largest district, had a nearly 93% rate.
We have a lot of cool natural attractions here in Central Florida.
And that includes Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive. We are showing you the best way to check out the gators there. That's next.
Plus, a nationwide food recall hitting close to home. The tater tot brands being taken off the menu. That's coming up. And as we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. And watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive is known for its biodiversity, but if you're here, you're probably here for some gators, and that's why we're here too. Plus, I made a little friend. Florida has more than 1 million alligators. And in places like this, they're not hard to find, as long as you know the difference between a stick and a reptile. We got one right over here. But sometimes, taking a photo of an alligator isn't as easy as spotting them. Oh yeah, I see it. They always go behind a stick or something. Oh, stop, stop, stop. Bye. The American alligator is Florida's oldest resident. They've been around for nearly 8 million years, and they've adapted to just about every freshwater ecosystem in the state. Lakes, canals, springs, that ditch behind Publix. As the saying goes, if the water's wet, there's a gator in there. Despite the mouthful of teeth and one of the most powerful bites in the animal kingdom, alligators make remarkable mothers. Laying up to 70 eggs, they will fiercely guard the nest and protect their young for up to a year. Alligators are cold-blooded ambush predators, which is a fancy way of saying they don't move around a whole lot. They spend a lot of time basking to regulate temperature or wading through the water slowly. It's that lack of activity that makes photographing them less about capturing a behavior and more about composition and context. A well-placed shadow can frame their features. A bit of environment gives you a window into their lives. But if you're patient, observant, and a little bit lucky, oh my God, there's babies on it. Nature will reward you. Thanks for watching, humans, and remember to post your nature photos on clickorlando.com/pins. I want to see them. Until next time, stay local and play local.
That made my hair rise in a really good way. I want
Yes.
Joey to do a master class now.
Yeah,
I'm not
his
thinking
pictures
that.
are great. Now, though, is not the time to
No,
go.
no.
They will all be hiding and seeking some warmth right
As
now.
should you.
Yes, yes. I went back in around Thanksgiving, though, and I saw more than 90. We lost track.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
great.
also going to be just lounging and trying to regulate my body temperature over the next few days. So maybe Joey will snap pictures of me laying, you know, like on a file cabinet in the newsroom or something like that. This is what we're talking about. Dangerously cold weather headed our way already. We're beginning to see some of those changes in the form of some rain. And tomorrow night into early Friday morning, just about all of us will be under a freeze watch, as a lot of us will be below freezing for several hours. Now, here's a look at the radar for us. This is the initial surge of moisture well out ahead of our front, which is still off to our north and west. But you can also expect to see some showers as we head into our morning drive time. So go ahead and plan to give yourself a little bit of extra time. We're seeing some areas of yellow and orange on the radar up toward Crescent City, some heavy rainfall. Pearson down toward Cypress Lake Estates, seeing some moderate rainfall as we take you back toward Umatilla, Eustis, Tavares, all seeing some heavier rain. Fruitland Park back down toward Clay Island, Astatula, Mascot, Groveland, Claremont, all dealing with some of those heavier showers. And we've got more heavy rain coming out of areas like Dade City and Blanton, heading on off toward the east. So again, we're talking about a slow drive home and likely a slow drive to work and school tomorrow before that really cold stuff settles in by tomorrow night into Friday morning. Here's what it looks like for us right now. Really pretty shot. You can see a lot of cloud cover. You can see that breeze on our Launch Credit Union camera out at Cape Canaveral. 68 degrees right now with winds from the west northwest gusting up to around 18 miles per hour. 58 in the Villages, 57 in Wildwood. It is 69 in Micco. Your hour by hour forecast will generally be in the 60s as we head through the next couple of hours. 59 at 8 o'clock. We could still see a few spotty showers throughout the evening hours. By the way, this is Mushi, and she enjoys watching birds. She lives in Sanford, so she'll be chilly Friday morning as well. Click Orlando.com/pins to share your pet photos with us. Here is our front. This will be actually moving through Central Florida during the morning hours tomorrow. So tonight on your clouds and rain forecast, a few more spotty showers, but by 5 o'clock, that front moves into our northern zones, pushing through during 6, 7, 8 o'clock. So do expect some rain to start the day tomorrow. Then behind that cold push, we wake up to 34 in Orlando Friday morning, 24 for your low in Denellen. And we're talking about temperatures feeling like the 20s just about everywhere for Friday morning. So because we are talking about being below freezing in areas like Marion County for 4 to 6 hours, it's a night you want to bring in the plants, protect your pipes, because we are talking about just really brutal conditions. And we haven't seen weather this cold since about 2022. Sumter County, you will also see about 3 to 5 hours below freezing Thursday night into Friday morning. 7-day forecast showing overnight we go into the low 50s. That 60% chance of rain is for overnight into tomorrow. Then you'll notice the 30s arrive Friday morning, even 39 for our low on Saturday. Sunday, we're talking about another front coming through that could potentially bring some snow to North Florida, not Central Florida, but North Florida, and then 36 next week for our Monday.
You're going to have to repeat that for the people in the back because you know you're going to get emails. All right.
Not Central Florida.
Thanks, Julie. Well, your kid's school lunch could be part of a major recall.
The tater tots that leaders are pulling off the menu and what your kids should watch out for, that's next.
Coming up in the morning, NASA's Crew 11 team returning weeks earlier than planned.
Yeah, live updates from the overnight splashdown, and we'll have the latest on the sick astronaut.
Plus, as the rain moves out, bitter cold moves in. Candace has your forecast details every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
A heads up, a local school cafeteria is part of a nationwide food recall. Nearly 39,000 cases of frozen tater tots are being recalled. The FDA warned they could contain clear, hard plastic fragments. The recall affects Ore-Ida tater tots and Cisco Imperial potato tater barrels. They were distributed in 26 states, including Florida. In fact, Orange County Public Schools says they also had the recalled tots. Leaders told us they pulled them from the menu and they are not serving them to students. Well, if you missed kicking off the new year with a polar plunge like the De Leon Springs Dunk in Volusia County, you can still get in on the growing trend.
Apparently, more and more wellness centers and gyms are starting to offer these things. Some of the benefits of the icy dips include easing inflammation, speeding up recovery, and even sharpening your mind. People at the Ice Room in Miami are lowering themselves into tubs of water as cold as 36 degrees for about 2 minutes at a time. This competitive athlete added cold plunging to his recovery routine 6 months ago. He says the results were immediate.
Immediately when I come out, I feel relaxed, I feel energized, I feel refreshed, mentally clear.
Here in Central Florida, we told you about Augment of Wekiva Springs last year. It's in Altamont Springs. The Wellness Center offers cold plunge hydrotherapy. The process is not a long one either. Customers are only recommended to stay in the ice bath for up to 5 minutes. Of course, you have to pay for such things, but we have a cold plunge coming that's going to be absolutely free.
I did that cold therapy once and I threw out my back the next day. I blame that. Never again.
Don't listen to her. News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
When the pool gets around 73, that's what I consider a cold plunge at my house. Well, in Seminole County, Lynx buses are gone and the Scout on-demand service, it's in. Up next, a mostly smooth launch, the biggest issue facing city officials as we get a look at those numbers for the very first time. And NASA's Crew 11 will soon be returning home. Your Space Coast community correspondent James Sparvero will have more on the undocking from the ISS. That forecast is only minutes away. We'll be right back.
Now at 5. Yes, those are toddlers running on one of Central Florida's busiest roads alone. Hear what happened when they were returned to their family. Plus,
to get up every day to know that my son is not around.
a mom sentenced to life for the death of her son. Why this case is far from over. And a new report out today says the woman behind the wheel of this car was likely unaware she was driving directly into the path of a speeding train. We'll explain why. You're watching News 6 at 5.
We begin tonight with some breaking news in Sanford. Police say a former school resource officer has been arrested for acting inappropriately with a minor. Investigators were tipped off about that inappropriate behavior from Pedro Enrique da Silva at Seminole High School. They say da Silva was talking and sending pictures to a 17-year-old female student while on duty as the school resource officer. This all happened between October of 2025 and December 17th of the same year. Da Silva has been fired and faces multiple charges. Seminole County Public Schools Superintendent says she's grateful for the quick response from police to make the arrest and says we will continue to fully cooperate with this investigation and encourage any student or staff member who may have information relevant to this case to come forward.
A mom will spend the rest of her life in prison after what Tavares police call one of the most heartbreaking cases in city history.
Prosecutors say her 10-year-old suffered systemic abuse from Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend before he died in February.
Our Catherine Silver is live outside the courthouse in Lake County, where the mom was sentenced this afternoon after a plea agreement.
I spoke with Xavier Williams's and the family say they understand that agreement, but this is not easy for them. His aunt says this is the first time that many of them have seen Kimberly Mills in person, especially since his aunt lost her nephew and her brother lost his son.
To get up every day to know that my son is not around.
Difficult doesn't describe the pain Keneal Williams says he's living with after losing his 10-year-old son. His emotional statement to the court Wednesday ended in tears before the boy's own mother was sentenced to life in prison for his death.
You are hereby sentenced to life in the Department of Corrections.
Tavares police say Xavier suffered unspeakable abuse from his mom, Kimberly Mills, and her boyfriend, Andre Walker. Pictures shared by investigators showcase the latter 10-pound weight and duct tape they say were used to torment the boy and his younger brother inside the family's home. In February, Xavier was rushed to the hospital with severe bruising, burn marks, and signs of sexual abuse.
On behalf of Ms. Mills, she would like me to indicate to Your Honor that she very much loves her children.
Mills' attorney says she agreed to plead no contest to 5 counts, including a murder charge, to save Xavier's brother from the trauma of testifying against her at a trial.
I lost it. When she said that,
the boy's aunt says nothing will ever justify her family's loss, their pain, this tragedy.
Christmas was hard. He was crying. This is one Christmas that he didn't have his brother. While she's in there talking about, oh, she loves her children, we're out here still grieving.
Today's change of police spares Mills from the death penalty, but she will be required to testify against her boyfriend, Andre Walker, at his upcoming trial that is set to happen later this year. I'm live in Lake County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Thank you. Taking a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando camera, where the temperatures are expected to drop even more.
Yeah, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is tracking the latest as that winter weather moves closer to Central Florida. Jonathan.
Yeah, guys, tomorrow at this time, it is going to be much colder outside. What we have going on now, this is what we're tracking ahead of the front. So some much needed rain coming through. It's not going to help us out a ton to get us out of the dry situation, but nonetheless, we'll take whatever we can get. Most of this kind of situated right along the I-4 corridor tonight. We're going to track this for the next couple of hours as it works its way from northwest to southeast, kind of tapping in some of that extra Gulf moisture. It's out ahead of this. There's the big front again, slicing through parts of the Deep South and the Mississippi River Valley. This arrives late tomorrow morning Our high temperatures occurring late tomorrow morning, and then most of the day tomorrow will feature our temperatures tumbling until we bottom out big time on Friday morning, the coldest air likely since late in 2022. There's the chill again, the cold front pushing into Nashville as we speak. Again, by tomorrow at this time, it's likely going to be about 20 degrees cooler. We're going to pinpoint that part of your forecast and talk about the frigid weekend ahead coming up at about 5:17.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. We want to take a live look now in space, where 4 astronauts who were on board the International Space Station are suddenly getting ready to come home because of a medical condition.
Yeah, the hatch on their SpaceX Dragon capsule is closing right now, and the crew is set to undock at any moment. Now, for privacy reasons, NASA isn't saying which member of the crew isn't feeling well. Your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Sparvero is live on the Space Coast, where Crew 11 launched last summer. And James, the crew's coming home a month earlier than expected.
And this is unprecedented, Matt. Never before in human spaceflight history here has NASA ended an astronaut mission early because of a medical issue. SpaceX Crew 11 is leaving the International Space Station a month early because one of the crew members needs medical attention here on Earth. NASA also hasn't said what exactly the medical problem is, but that their vital signs are steady.
They want to get this person back on the ground in a hospital where they can do the kind of diagnostic test that you just can't do aboard the space station.
CBS News space expert Bill Harwood told me about how space shuttle astronauts have come home early, but for technical reasons. That got me wondering about NASA's plans for deeper space exploration. As soon as next month, in a mission around the moon, Artemis 2 plans to fly farther away from Earth than any crew before, and that's just the start of America's new space race. Should there be concerns about future missions in space if there's medical emergencies on the way to Mars, for example?
You know, they train for medical problems. They've got a full suite of instruments and procedures available to them on the space station. 2 astronauts on each crew are trained as medical officers to handle things like that. But obviously a major problem requires a quick trip back to Earth. And so that's an issue. That's something they're thinking real hard about, and what do they need to do to, handle any sort of emergency that might crop up.
And I think it goes to show astronauts have to be prepared for anything when they take off, and they train for these situations. Just think about Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams a year ago, who had their stay in space extended because of an issue with their spacecraft. So back to Crew 11, the undocking time is now at 5:20, and the crew is expected to splash down off the coast of California around 3:40 tomorrow morning. Live in Brevard County, I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Sparvero, News 6.
All right, James, thank you. We are going to be closely following Crew 11's splashdown off the coast of California tomorrow during News 6 mornings, starting at 5 a.m.
Right now, we're monitoring some breaking news. If you're having trouble using your cell phone and you're a Verizon subscriber, there is a big outage impacting users across the U.S. right now. Some phones have been showing SOS since about noon. Verizon has engineers looking into the problem. They say they're working on the fix, but so far no timeline has been given. We'll continue to monitor this and bring you any updates as we get them.
Take a look at this video. This is the moment right before an 83-year-old woman drove into the path of a high-speed Brightline train. At the time, investigators thought she had suffered a medical emergency. News 6's Jana Manahalal is live in the newsroom tonight. And Jana, the medical examiner's report outlines exactly what her blood alcohol level was at the time of the crash.
Yeah, Lisa, so I have the 6-page report here, and this report tells us that Mitchell had a BAC of 4.6 when she drove into the tracks where the Brightline was coming, and now that is almost 6 times the legal limit you're supposed to have in your system. Now, according to the medical examiner's office, the cause of the death was the impact of the train, but also that lethal level of alcohol. The report goes on to say that it appears Mitchell was disoriented from the alcohol and was not aware she was driving into the path of the train. Now, friends and family remember Mitchell as a healthy individual when the crash initially happened, citing no issues of drinking in the past. When we first brought you this story, the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization talked about putting crossing arms on both sides of traffic lanes at these intersections in Brevard County. Now, each crossing features gates on the approaching lanes but lacks gates on the exiting lanes, making it difficult for drivers not to see the true warning signs of when a Brightline train is coming. Now, last January, the group was awarded $4.9 million to move forward with those safety improvements, and we'll update you when we have some more information on those.
All right, Jenna, thank you. We want to get out live now to the roads in Orange County. You're looking live at I-4, the westbound ramp to the 408, where you can see traffic is slowed down right now. This is all because of a crash. Looks like the exit is still open and just part of the ramp is shut down right now. As soon as we learn more about this situation, we'll let you know.
Well, one day after Orange County Public Schools approved the sale of the historic Hungerford property to Dr. Phillips Charities, the town of Eatonville is set to take the next step. Over the next few months, the charity will be talking with neighbors in Eatonville about options out there, and they hope to break ground as early as October. The first meeting in town is in less than an hour. It's at 6 o'clock. The 117-acre site was once the home of the Hungerford School, a historically black school that served students in Eatonville for decades. 7 Orange County schools will be shutting down this year.
And tonight, parents have a chance to hear from the decision makers themselves. Next at 5, a preview of tonight's public meeting where many are looking for answers about what's next for their kids.
I'm News 6 business analyst Donovan Myrie. The government is sending out lots of notices, millions of notices to people who have defaulted on their student loans. What do you do if you get one? I'll have that story coming up.
You're watching News 6 at 5. Beautiful sunset out at the Cape. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Hundreds of Orange County parents are trying to get answers about what to do if their child's school shuts down. 7 schools are on the list for closure after this year.
And the first public meeting happens tonight. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez fills us in on what parents are being told.
Right now, students who live nearby can use this very sidewalk to walk to class if they want to every single day here at Union Park Middle School. But next year, that could all change as the school district considers a plan to consolidate 7 schools due to lower enrollment numbers, which is increasing their financial concerns.
Me parece una mala elección. We live right across the street, so them going to another school would be big. It's too many kids in this neighborhood for this school to be closing down.
Union Park Middle School parents are trying to wrap their heads around the school potentially closing.
My other son goes to Union Park Elementary. He's supposed to come here next year. So I was looking forward to having them in the same school. I'm blessed enough to take my son to school, but there's others that's not.
Union Park Middle is just one of the schools at risk of closing because a drop in enrollment has made keeping the schools open too expensive.
I would have to get a bus system or figure out how to get him here to and from in the morning, and I don't know the programs, the before and after school programs that other schools have.
Parents are planning to be at tonight's meeting to get a better idea of what this could mean for them.
Why is it important for you to attend that meeting?
Because I need to know what changes and how it's going to impact my son. Like, I need to know everything that's going on.
There are several more meetings scheduled over the next week at the other schools that could potentially close. We have those dates and times over on our website, clickorlando.com. Reporting in Orange County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Well, if you do not like the cold weather, we have some bad news for you. Get ready. There is some very chilly weather on the way.
Yeah, you might want to head to the Caribbean or something. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis is tracking the weather alert on the way. Jonathan.
Yeah, guys, it is going to get quite cold. Coldest we've seen since late in 2022. And there it is, blasting through the eastern 2/3 of the country now. You can see the divide from Atlanta back towards St. Louis. It's back to the teens in Minneapolis right now. We're still at a nice and comfortable 64, albeit on the cooler side. The clouds and the breeze helping it to feel a little cooler outside. The front is close by, just to the northwest of Atlanta. You see the rain showers along that extending back toward the Florida Panhandle. We have scattered showers and a couple of downpours embedded of our own. We were talking about this yesterday, that we would see that push of Gulf moisture out ahead of the main front. You can track these showers if you're heading out tonight by downloading the free News 6 weather app, Cool Interactive Radar. That'll be right to your location. You can track those showers into your neighborhood. So clouds and rain forecast for the rest of the evening. They'll become more isolated in nature. So once we get towards 8, 9, 10 o'clock, this little line of showers that's pushing through going to break up. I think the most widespread rain comes in overnight. So here's 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Nothing too terribly heavy, but some scattered showers going to be in the mix for your morning commute tomorrow. That's going to be 9 o'clock. This is as the front itself is coming through. We're looking at that 8 to 10 o'clock ballpark for that leading edge of the colder air. And you see what happens behind it. We cleared things out big time. That is because the air behind that front is very dry and it is very cold. Here's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. Air temps back to the mid-60s right now under that overcast sky. Breeze out of the west. We're tapping into some of that Gulf moisture right now at about 10 miles an hour. That's why we have the thicker clouds. That's why we have those scattered showers going on. 57 in the Villages, a nice 58 degrees in Palm Coast right now. Things are going to change big time over the next 24 hours. For that, here's a look at your Pinpoint Accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Temperatures tomorrow morning when you start still on the milder side. Average about 50. We're hanging in the low 50s tomorrow. 46 in Denellen, 47 degrees in Ocala. The thing is, we don't move much from where we are, where we start the morning. Only about 5 or 10 degrees. We'll hang around 60 in Orlando, 61 in Holopah, 56 degrees in Ocala. Watch the tumble as we go forward into tomorrow afternoon. So we pretty much hover right around the upper 50s to around 60. This is lunchtime tomorrow, and then we will gradually see the temperatures come down by this time tomorrow. We're going to be back to the lower 50s and well on our way into the 20s and 30s by the time you wake up on Friday morning. This should say Friday morning. Temperatures, again, 34 degrees in Orlando. We're at 25 in Denellen. Palm Coast, we are at 31. It's going to be cold all weekend long, and then we're going to get another reinforcing shot of some colder air on the back half of your weekend. Sunshine dominant Friday. It's not going to help much. Only back to the mid to upper 50s. We're at 67, though, after a cold start on Saturday. Then that secondary front comes through on Sunday. That'll put us back in the low 60s. Then you're waking up into the low to mid 30s again on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, millions of Americans with student loans could soon see their paychecks docked.
And their credit score could take a hit. Still to come, how to protect your income if you are in default.
Your Wednesday evening traffic alert. Pay attention, Volusia, Daytona area. Got a new one for you. Tonight, Thursday night, and Friday night, you will see a ramp closure out here along north and southbound I-95 at US 92, just north of I-4. So if you're traveling out there, you will not be able to exit east or westbound, so you're going to have to follow the detour down towards the I-4 area. There will be signs, so just make sure you are paying attention. We'll see some construction along the Pine Hills area at Indian Hill, and then east and westbound along 528, and then of course that routine construction always happening along I-4 and the attractions area between 528 and Sand Lake. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Another update now on one of the big stories we've been following today. NASA's Crew 11 beginning their journey back to Earth. Undocking just took place. You can see these live pictures from NASA. They are expected to splash down off the coast of California tomorrow morning. We will continue to track their progress and have updates for you on the morning news starting at 5. Of course, all of this because of a medical condition leading to this unprecedented move to come back early. So we're going to continue to update this for you. Well, after a 5-year hiatus, the federal government is reinstating wage garnishments for student loan borrowers who are in default.
Yeah, garnishments were suspended during the pandemic, but now they're back, and a lot of people are about to receive some pretty unpleasant news.
News 6 business analyst Donovan Myrie spoke with CBS News' Jill Schlesinger about what options are available for borrowers.
The Department of Education is sending out notices that could impact millions of people who have defaulted on their federal student loans. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to explain what to do if you receive a notification. Jill, this is some serious stuff. When is a student loan borrower in default?
Well, there's actually a progression. When you miss a payment, even just one, you're considered delinquent. Once a payment is 90 days late, Now the government's going to do another thing that's going to hurt you. They're going to report you to the credit bureaus, and that's going to ding your credit score. It makes it harder and more expensive to get approved for a credit card or a car loan or a mortgage. You are considered in default after 270 days of non-payment.
What is the government doing to recoup those loans?
Well, the Department of Ed is notifying these federal student loan borrowers who are in default that their wages could be garnished. This is pretty serious because it means that the government can take up to 15% of your paycheck directly, and they don't have to go to court to do this. But if you're technically in default, they can go after your wages. They also can look at federal benefits like Social Security or income tax refunds. They may tap a portion of those for repayment.
And again, Joe, we're talking about millions of people. If you are in default, what should you do?
First of all, contact your loan servicer immediately. I think there you're going to find you have 3 specific options. One is called loan rehabilitation. That's where you make 9 affordable payments over 10 months. The second is called loan consolidation, where you would get a new direct student loan. And the third is called an income-based repayment plan. Now, that's a very enticing offer because it's going to push down your monthly loan payment. But don't forget, it makes the term of your loan longer. You're adding years on the back end. The key, please don't ignore these notifications. Act quickly before garnishment begins.
As usual, Jill, great advice. You can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com.
All right, well, being in the right place at the right time.
Coming up at 5:30, a dramatic rescue right in the middle of A1A, and it was all caught on camera. The quick-thinking driver who helped 2 toddlers who were wandering in the middle of traffic. And a DUI arrest ended with a bit of an odd excuse as to why the suspect could not complete a field sobriety test. Coming up here, what he said to officers at the scene as we take a live look at Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now. In fact, breaking in Seminole County, a former school resource officer under arrest. Sanford police say he was acting inappropriately with a student. Investigators say Pedro Da Silva was talking to and sending pictures to a 17-year-old at Seminole High while on duty as the school resource officer there. Da Silva faces multiple charges, and the superintendent in Seminole County says the district is cooperating. We're monitoring a huge outage impacting Verizon customers across the nation. Phones have been showing an SOS message since about noon. Mine is still showing it. In fact, engineers are looking into the issue, working on a fix, but there's no timeline just yet. We'll bring you any updates as we get them.
And NASA's Crew 11 just left the International Space Station a month early. It's all because a crew member needs medical attention here on Earth, but it's unclear which astronaut is impacted and what exactly their medical issue is. Now, this is the first time a medical issue has ever brought a crew home early. We'll bring you the latest as they splash down off the coast of California early tomorrow morning.
Right now, a driver in Brevard County found two toddlers wandering in the middle of the road on Sunday.
And it was all caught on camera. News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden has a look at this shocking video, Ginger.
Yeah, it is shocking, Lisa. This is what dash cam video along the busy A1A and Cocoa Beach, this is what it caught. It shows the driver pulling over, getting out of his vehicle and picking up those little girls and then carrying those kids to safety. That Good Samaritan posted the dash cam on Facebook and says that they were shooting real estate video in their car when this is what they saw. That's incredible. They also said the grandparents had no idea the twins were actually missing, and they were watching TV and the girls were in the backyard coloring. That's where they thought they were. Now, there are still a lot of questions about what happened here, and we're asking those questions tonight. For example, who are the parents? Will they be facing any charges? The rescuers say this is a good reminder to watch out while you're driving because you have no idea what you're going to encounter. But thank goodness this guy was driving and paying attention. Lisa?
Yeah, just looking at that, it's terrifying. Ginger, thank you.
Well, enjoy the weather today while it lasts.
Yeah, some very cold weather is on the way as we take a live look at Daytona Beach. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas is tracking some potentially dangerous cold temperatures for us. Jonathan?
We get into Friday morning. That's going to be the big deal. Tomorrow's kind of the swapping out as the front itself actually crosses by from north to south starting tomorrow morning. Radar picture right now shows us some of this prefrontal mess, as we always call it. There's these showers pushing through, nothing too terribly heavy. Couple of embedded downpours hanging around the I-4 corridor. These are going to continue to work from southwest to northeast over the next couple of hours before we send those showers packing. Here is the front itself. Back to the northwest of Atlanta in Charlotte. It has its own showers with it. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, and even some overnight, I think we're going to see another round of scattered downpours in the mix. It's behind that, a nice big chunk of high pressure. That's what's going to plop on top of us by the time you wake up on Friday morning, and the coldest day we've seen, no doubt, this season, and certainly in the last couple of years, blast through. We're going to take that a little bit further and take you neighborhood by neighborhood to talk about those temperatures that are coming our way. And they're really cold, guys, coming up at about 5:47.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, tonight a man is recovering after being shot by police in Longwood.
This happening after police got reports that the man was armed and suicidal inside a gas station. Your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman explains what happened next.
In the most recent update from police, we're told the man was taken to the hospital and is stable. The encounter happened here outside of this convenience store near the front corner there, where the officer essentially said they were in fear for their own life. Now, this whole area was blocked off overnight as the investigation got underway. There was a big response from officers, and we also saw more than half a dozen bullet casings on the ground. According to Longwood Police, it was just after 9 last night when they were called to this Circle K off of State Road 434. That call came from a clerk who reported that a man in the store was suicidal and said he was armed with a gun. The first officer who arrived reportedly tried to de-escalate the situation, but those attempts didn't work. That officer said the man was concealing his hands and then suddenly pulled them from his waistband in a, quote, hostile manner. That's when the officer opened fire and shot the man, who was taken to the hospital and underwent surgery. And as evidence was gathered out here, police say they learned the man who was shot was not actually armed. Right now we're working to learn more about him and the officer who was involved. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating, which is standard in an officer-involved shooting. For now, reporting in Longwood, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
A former Brevard County deputy accused of shooting and killing his roommate will soon hear how long he's going to stay in prison. The incident happened in December of 2022. Andrew Lawson is charged with manslaughter. An arrest report says while Lawson was off duty, he, quote, jokingly pulled the trigger twice before the gun fired and killed Deputy Austin Walsh. He called 911 and told the Palm Bay Police Department he accidentally shot his roommate and needed help. Lawson's plea and sentencing hearing are set for tomorrow.
Foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland met with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio today at the White House. This meeting comes after President Trump publicly said that he wants to either buy Greenland or take it by force. Greenland's prime minister has insisted the territory is not for sale and has no interest in severing ties with Denmark. The president claims the land is needed for national security purposes. A group of bipartisan lawmakers is planning to travel to Copenhagen later this week.
President Trump issuing another strong warning to Iran after the regime in Iran has threatened death for people arrested during anti-government protests. The arrested demonstrators are being called rioters and saboteurs. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Trump, in an exclusive interview with CBS News, vowed to take strong action against Iran if anti-government protesters are hanged.
We're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
It comes as prosecutors in Iran say they are bringing capital charges against people arrested during anti-government demonstrations, with Iran's Supreme Court Chief Justice calling for expedited trials and punishments.
We have documented over 16,700 arrests. These are people that are being arbitrarily detained in sometimes unknown detention facilities. And they're also being subject to forced confessions.
In addition to the arrests, sources tell CBS News that the number of protesters killed is now at least 12,000, possibly upwards of 20,000.
Nobody's been able to give us accurate numbers about how many people they've killed.
Well, on that
but
point,
it looks
Mr.
like
President,
it could be a pretty substantial number, and that's going to be a lot of problems for them.
As the president weighs potential military options with his national security team, he told reporters he thinks it's a good idea for Americans to evacuate Iran.
CBS News has confirmed reports the U.S. has begun a precautionary reduction of some personnel from nearby U.S. bases, including Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Iran launched missiles at the airbase last June in response to the U.S. strikes on key nuclear sites. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Today, we are seeing the data from the first full day of Scout, the new on-demand ride service in Seminole County. According to the county's assistant manager, there were 204 requests and 124 completed trips from people who created their profile the same day. A survey also found 16% of people using Scout previously relied on Lynx. 37% were Uber and Lyft riders, and 32% of the people would not have been able to make the trip without Scout. There were some hiccups, including 30 users who were responsible for 231 cancellations. Officials say one person made and canceled 16 requests in 45 minutes.
I believe this individual thinks it's, and I'm sorry for the poor analogy, thinks it's some kind of transit Tetris where, hey, I'm waiting for the right piece to fall and then I'm going to move it to me and hopefully I'll get a 5-minute ride. It doesn't work like that. He's really going to the back of the queue every time he does this. It's also screwing up other riders.
The county managers say they would like to make some app changes, including blocking people who are frozen out of the app. And if they need to make a ride, they can call the call center.
Well, a man who deputies say is on his 5th DUI had a unique excuse for failing that field sobriety test. Deputies pulled over Howard Johnson, A caller said he'd been swerving all over the road. Deputies say he was slurring his speech when they got to him, so they asked him for a field sobriety test, and deputies say he couldn't complete parts of that test. And his excuse is because he's a man. Take a listen.
I'm a man.
You want me to do it? I'm pretty sure both Deputy Doggett and Deputy Patel are well versed in this as well. Just do your best, okay? It's not. Just do your best.
I can walk.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back over here.
Yeah, deputies arrested Howard, who they say was a fugitive from Indiana after his 4 previous DUIs. He's being held in the Flagler County Jail awaiting extradition back to Indiana.
A heads up, a local school cafeteria, they're part of a nationwide food recall. Nearly 39,000 cases of frozen tater tots are being recalled. The FDA warned they could contain clear, hard plastic fragments. The recall affects Ore-Ida tater tots and Cisco Imperial potato tater barrels. They were distributed in 26 states, including Florida. In fact, Orange County Public Schools says they also had the recalled tots. Leaders told us they pulled them from the menu and they are not serving them to students. The FDA has classified this as a Class 2 recall, meaning the risk of serious injury is considered low. However, families are being urged to monitor their kids for any unusual symptoms.
It was a chaotic scene in Flagler County. Police say a missing child was found with a registered sex offender.
Tonight, we are hearing what a 911 caller said when he alerted the authorities. Coming up, the lengths that man said he was willing to go to while he waited for police to arrive.
You can try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight at 9. Get your weather questions answered with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour early. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
Download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
We are learning more about what led to this chaotic scene in Flagler County. Last month, a registered sex offender was found with a child he's accused of kidnapping, and now we're hearing the 911 call that helped track him down. As News 6's Mark Lehman reports, the caller claimed he knew the suspect.
The video from Flagler County deputies shows just how dangerous the situation was last month, leading to the capture of Darnell Hairston. Now we're learning the arrest may not have happened if it wasn't for a caller who recognized the suspect and called the cops.
5091, where's the location of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. There's a child pedophile with 2 kids in his truck.
A 911 caller warning Flagler deputies about the truck seen on this dash camera video from New Year's Eve. We're now learning that call was made because the man recognized the driver behind the wheel as 60-year-old Darnell Hairston.
And how do you know this person?
He's our neighborhood child pedophile, and there's 2 missing kids that's run away from out there.
Deputies say Hairston had 2 boys, a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old inside the truck. The younger boy told deputies he had been kidnapped, tied up, and drugged. The 911 caller saying he was determined to see Hairston caught.
You don't have to continue following.
Oh, no, I'm following until I see a cop pull his over because he's got 2 kids in his car. Because if a cop don't pull him over, I'm going to pull him over, and it ain't going to be pretty.
This caller did a phenomenal job. He saw something, knew it wasn't right, called us. He followed him until we could get deputies.
While deputies were busy with Hairston during the traffic stop, the 15-year-old jumped back into the truck. Investigators say he led deputies on a chase, ramming a patrol car before crashing.
Signal 4, signal 4, signal 4.
Sheriff's office, let me see hands! Let me see hands! Lay out!
Hairston is now facing several charges, including kidnapping and aggravated child abuse. The 15-year-old is also facing battery on law enforcement charges. Meanwhile, we're told the 11-year-old boy is safe. Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, we want to check in now once again with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. It's not very often that we see that graphic behind you. Yeah, freeze watch in effect.
Certainly this widespread anyway. Certainly further closer to Lake Okeechobee as well. We're talking about air temperatures getting to 32 degrees or below. That's without the wind. So again, it's a mean air mass that's sliding through. Really, the only part unscathed by 32 degrees below 32 degrees is going to be right at the Cape there. That's the only spot that is not highlighted, at least in Central Florida. So everybody should be protecting their plants. If you have sensitive plants, certainly if they're susceptible to the cold, either bring them in or cover them. I'd start to do that tonight or early tomorrow before that round of cold gets here later tomorrow evening. If you're in Marion County or Sumter County, it's also a good idea if you have exposed exterior pipes to start taking care of those as well. Maybe get some insulation or just let it run a little bit so that they do not freeze, because we will have temperatures getting back into the mid-20s for us in Ocala, into Coleman as well. The duration of the freeze, about 4 to 6, maybe 7 hours. And again, that's going to be enough to start causing some problems on exterior pipes. Everywhere else, I think we're going to be okay. Again, if you just want to be safe, just make sure, again, that you do that. Again, 20s and 30s across the board when we wake up on Friday morning. There's more cold that'll settle in on Saturday, and then a reinforcing shot coming down the pipeline as we go from Sunday to Monday. So it's not our typical short-lived, maybe 24, 48 hours, and we jump back up. We're going to have a couple of these rounds of colder air coming in before we really warm up late next work week. Here is the front itself. We do have a couple of showers out ahead of it as expected. Another round of showers pushing from Atlanta back towards the Florida Panhandle. That arrives overnight, and by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, then that's when we will start to see the opportunity again for those showers for the morning commute before we dry things out because of that round of colder air. So we have a couple of Arctic fronts we are tracking. The first one again arrives tomorrow. That one slides through. We're stopping it Friday morning. Big chunk of high pressure sits on top of us. Although positive note about high pressure funneling in is that the wind is going to back off a little bit. So not a ton in the wind chill department, but it will help the atmosphere to radiate any warmth that there is more efficiently. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. So it's going to be very cold again on Friday morning. Then a secondary front comes through. This is going to be early in the morning on Sunday, and you see some weird colors going on. For the second time in consecutive years, second time in a row, the Florida Panhandle could see some flakes out of the deal. I don't think it's as big or as impressive or as historic as the last go-around last year about this time, but nonetheless, there's the opportunity you see there, the model picking up on some snow across the Florida Panhandle. We will not see any of that. We will get all of the cold. Nonetheless, it could be dealing with some flakes up there. Live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County, Launch Credit Union camera. It's a gorgeous shot out there. Little cool temperatures back into the mid-60s right now under that cloudy sky. The breeze at about 15 miles an hour. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Air temperatures tomorrow back to around 60 degrees. Rain chances in the morning go back to around 60%. Then the chill settles in, 20s and 30s. Friday morning, coldest air since late in 2022. Secondary front comes in Sunday into Monday for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, there's a lethal drug you may not have ever even heard of.
It is called nitrous oxide, and it's sold here in Central Florida. Up next, the new legislation aimed at preventing it from impacting the community.
Coming up in the morning, NASA's Crew 11 team returning weeks earlier than planned.
Yeah, live updates from the overnight splashdown, and we'll have the latest on the sick astronaut.
Plus, as the rain moves out, bitter cold moves in. Candace has your forecast details every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
Abused and lethal nitrous oxide has many uses, but when it is huffed, it can kill.
Now, after the death of a Central Florida woman, the state may finally be acting on this. As your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti explains, the bill would prohibit the sale of nitrous oxide in places it's often found and abused, smoke shops.
I was able Wednesday to get my hands on nitrous oxide just by walking into a supermarket. Now, I know that might not sound like some earth-shattering revelation to you, but this is just another important reminder of how ubiquitous this stuff is. In this case, in this aerosol container that I'm holding, the nitrous oxide, N2O, acts as a propellant to help make the cream that comes out foamy.
And the supermarkets are not carrying these large canisters. Problem actors in this situation are smoke shop owners and manufacturers.
Lee Caldwell knows more than she ever wanted to know about smoke shops. Her sister Meg died outside of one in November 2024.
She was the apple of all of our eye.
29-year-old Meg Caldwell overdosed on nitrous oxide after a crippling addiction. Inhaling the gas is illegal in Florida, but selling it in smoke shops is not.
She would tell us, I'm buying this legally. And we would say this is harmful. She never believed that it was as harmful as it could be.
So if we take a look at current Florida statute, it's considered a third-degree felony for anyone to knowingly distribute, sell, purchase, transfer, or possess more than 16 grams of nitrous oxide. Now, if we look at this proposed bill in question, that 16-gram threshold now goes out the window. We're talking about any nitrous oxide would be illegal to possess, sell. Of course, there are exceptions. We're talking about grocery stores and supermarkets. That's because nitrous oxide does have legitimate purposes, like in a medical office or, as we showed you before, as a food additive.
If you are a restaurateur using it in a commercial kitchen, you're not headed to the smoke shop to get your nitrous oxide.
Last September, an undercover operation resulted in 70 felony arrests tied to retailers selling nitrous oxide in illicit amounts. Now the state is looking to go a step further.
But they can turn off this whole supply chain for this illegitimate use.
Lee plans to travel to Tallahassee to testify if this is brought up in committee, but so far it has not been scheduled. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti.
All right, well, Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
Police in Titusville are investigating a shooting last night, sending one woman to the hospital, but a young man made sure his family was safe. Coming up, the incredible story of how a 16-year-old jumped into action to protect his 4-year-old sister during that shooting. And a story that impacts so many of you at home. What Verizon says after a major outage hit thousands of its users earlier today. A live look now over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Now on News 6 at 6, a mother sentenced to life in prison in the death of her 10-year-old son. Now family members are breaking their silence.
While she's in there talking about how she loves her children, we're out here still grieving.
Plus, Sanford police arresting one of their own, the now former cop accused of inappropriate conduct with a student. Why investigators fear there could be more victims. And Crew 11 astronauts are on their way home after a medical issue cut their mission short. When they're expected to splash down on Earth. News 6 at 6 starts now. Good evening, I'm Ginger Gadsden.
Yeah, glad you're with us. I'm Matt Austin. We begin tonight with a check of that forecast with rain and cold temps on the way. Let's take a live look over downtown Orlando. This is our Light Orlando camera. Looks beautiful tonight, but we are in for some unfavorable weather over the next few days.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now with a look at when we can expect the rain and then the cold that is on the way.
Yeah, that's right. The rain coming through right now, at least round one. Round two comes in overnight tonight and into the early part of tomorrow. That's with the cold front itself. So there we go with the scattered showers. These have about an hour, give or take, left before they push off the coast. And then it becomes very, very spotty, as you see there back toward Lakeland and Tampa, just a few more passing showers. Otherwise, though, I think a lot of us are going to be left without any kind of rain, at least this go around from Rockledge back to Satellite Beach. That's out ahead of the cold front. The front itself extending back from central Pennsylvania down now through Atlanta, back into Houston. That front is going to change things up big time. Still not expecting a ton of rain as the front comes through, but you will notice when it crosses because it's going to sharply drop our temperatures. You see the difference from the lower 60s now back in central Florida. Compare that to the freezing mark in St. Louis, teens back towards the Twin Cities. And again, that all arrives during the day tomorrow, and we will really see that start to work its way back into central Florida again and settle in by the time you wake up on Friday morning. Most everybody at least going to at least flirt with 32 degrees. A lot of us are going to fall beneath that for the first time in a long time. We're going to talk much more about how cold it gets where you live coming up at about 6:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. All right, we want to give you some live pictures now of what's happening out on the roads in Orange County, and for good reason. You're looking live at the I-4 westbound ramp to the 408, where you can see traffic has really come to a crawl. That's due to a crash. This is near the Kia Center in that area. It looks like the exit is still open and just part of the ramp is shut down right now. As soon as we learn more about what's happening here and when it's back up to speed, we'll let you know.
New at 6 now, a Titusville woman is in the hospital after being shot in a neighborhood Tuesday evening.
Titusville police are looking for the person who fired those shots. News 6's Alex Cook has been in that community speaking to neighbors who heard the shots fired, including a mom who says her son sprang into action to protect his little sister.
Neighbors tell me this isn't the first time gunshots have disturbed the peace here on 3rd Avenue in Titusville. One mother who wasn't home at the time of Tuesday's shooting says her 16-year-old son called from her home with terrifying news. He could hear gunshots from the house, but he wasn't going to let his little sister get hurt. Sarah Hamilton was at Bible study Tuesday night when her phone rang. It was her 16-year-old son, Josh, who rarely calls, so she knew something was wrong right away.
He said there was about 15 gunshots, but he called me immediately.
Josh was home watching his 4-year-old sister, Shy, when the shooting started. He quickly got her into their pantry, and they laid low to stay safe.
I answered the phone. He's like, "Mom, there's gunshots." And he goes, I grabbed Shy, and we laid low down in the middle room of the house, because it used to be like a little room, but we made it a pantry. I was really proud of him for doing that, but it was scary.
Josh even warned his mom not to come rushing into potential danger.
I was ready to come home, but he told me not to because they were still shooting. But he said there was a lot of police around here, and when I got home, there was still police up and down the street. I was lucky to get into my driveway.
But another woman who lives on the street wasn't so lucky. Last night, just after 6:30, Titusville police say a woman was hit by the bullets and rushed to the hospital. She is expected to be okay. I asked Titusville police about who fired those shots, and they said they can't release many details while they're investigating, but they don't think this shooting was random, and they don't think the public is in any danger. Neighbors say shootings like this are all too common in this public housing community.
I was scared, but at the same time, I was shocked because this is the 3rd time that something happened like this.
In Titusville, Alex Cook, News 6.
Again, police are asking anyone with info to contact the Titusville Police Department, or you can call anonymously through Crime Line at 800-423-TIP.
Developing tonight now, the police department in Sanford arresting one of its own, the now former school resource officer accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student, and police believe there could be some more victims out there. Here he is, Pedro da Silva, facing multiple charges after a number of interactions with the 17-year-old, including one in which investigators say he showed her explicit photos of himself on his phone. Da Silva has been with the Sanford Police Department since July of 2024. He was assigned to Seminole High as a school resource officer from July of 2025 until the department fired him in December. Anyone with info on the incidents or anyone who may have had similar interactions with Da Silva should contact the Sanford Police Department. You can also call Crime Line at 800-423-TIPS.
New at 6, additional charges have been filed against a man already in custody after a child porn bust in Deltona. The Volusia Sheriff's Office says 29-year-old Emmanuel Trujillo was offering vapes, drugs, and other gifts to teen girls as young as 13 in exchange for pictures. Deputies say after an investigation, another victim under the age of 16 was identified. He now faces charges including 9 counts of possession of child pornography. He has been in custody since December 19th, held on no bond. Developing right now, if you are having trouble using your cell phone, and a lot of you are, and you're a Verizon subscriber, there is a big outage impacting users all across the United States. Thousands of customers are affected, according to the website. And as of this afternoon, it shows Orlando has about 180,000 people reported an outage on the site. Some phones have been showing SOS since about noon today. Verizon has engineers looking into the problem and working on a fix, but so far, no timeline has been given. Of course, we'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you any new updates.
A mother will spend the rest of her life in prison after what Tavares police call one of the most heartbreaking cases in the city's history.
Yeah, prosecutors say her 10-year-old suffers systemic abuse from Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend before that little boy died. Our Catherine Silver is live outside the courthouse in Lake County tonight, where the mom was just sentenced this afternoon after a plea agreement. And Catherine, you spoke with the boy's family. They say they understand that deal and why it was reached.
Yeah, that's right. I spoke with Xavier Williams' aunt, who actually flew in from out of the country to be here at the courthouse for this hearing this afternoon. She says ultimately the family understands that agreement because they want to save his younger brother from any additional trauma a trial involving his mother could cause. But she says it does not take away the grief that they are still going through.
To get up every day to know that my son is not around.
Difficult doesn't describe the pain Keneal Williams says he's living with after losing his 10-year-old son. His emotional statement to the court Wednesday ended in tears before the boy's own mother was sentenced to life in prison for his death.
You are hereby sentenced to life in the Department of Corrections.
Tavares police say Xavier suffered unspeakable abuse from his mom, Kimberly Mills, and her boyfriend, Andre Walker. Pictures shared by investigators showcase the latter 10-pound weight and duct tape they say were used to torment the boy and his younger brother inside the family's home. In February, Xavier was rushed to the hospital with severe bruising, burn marks, and signs of sexual abuse.
On behalf of Ms. Mills, she would like me to indicate to Your Honor that she very much loves her children.
Mills' attorney says she agreed to plead no contest to 5 counts, including a murder charge, to save Xavier's brother from the trauma of testifying against her at a trial.
I lost it. When she said that,
the boy's aunt says nothing will ever justify her family's loss, their pain, this tragedy.
Christmas was hard. He was crying. This is one Christmas that he didn't have his brother. While she's in there talking about, oh, she loves her children, we're out here still grieving.
This plea agreement does spare Mills from the death penalty, but it also requires her to participate in the upcoming trial against her boyfriend, Andre Walker. She will have to testify in that case. I'm live in Lake County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. A meeting is just getting underway in Orange County. It's an opportunity for parents and community members to voice their concerns about the closure of several schools.
Yeah, tonight that meeting is being held at Union Park Middle School, which is also on the chopping block. News 6 Orange County community correspondent Troy Campbell is live outside the school where that meeting is taking place. Troy?
Yeah, right. So right now we're standing outside where that meeting is starting. Now, this is the first time for parents, community members to address their concerns. If you take a look through the window, you can actually see just how crowded the room is so far. Now, Orange County Public Schools says Union Park Middle School is one of 7 schools in the district that are operating under capacity. So because of this, the district says the schools are becoming too expensive to operate. District-wide, we're told there's been a 4% decrease in enrollment in about 3 years. We're told this has resulted in about 10,000 fewer students. According to school officials, Union Park Middle School, it has the capacity of nearly 1,500 students, but it's currently serving less than 600. OCPS is also proposing the closures of Bonneville Elementary, Chickasaw Elementary, Orla Vista Elementary, as well as Eccleston, Meadowwoods, and McCoy Elementary schools. Ahead of the meeting, we spoke with parents who are concerned about the possible closure.
We live right across the street, so them going to another school would be big. My other son goes to Union Park Elementary. He's supposed to come here next year. So I was looking forward to having them in the same school.
It's too many kids in this neighborhood for this school to be closing down.
Why is it important for you to attend that meeting?
Because I need to know what changes and how it's going to impact my son. Like, I need to know everything that's going on.
So ahead of the meeting, I did speak with school board member Angie Gallo, and she says she will be at this meeting speaking. So we're going to go ahead, go inside. Again, I told you it is a crowded room, and we will bring you updates starting at 10 and 11 tonight on News 6. Until then, live in Orlando, Troy Campbell, News 6. Back to you.
Troy, thank you. And a heads up for neighbors in Daytona Beach. Take some time and check your resident beach pass.
Yeah, neighbors reached out to News 6 after they were given some costly tickets. Coming up, we're getting you answers to see what the issue is and how you can make sure you don't deal with this big headache.
Plus, Crew 11 is on the way home right now. We'll take a look at how NASA is getting ready for future missions after this medical emergency.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
4 astronauts are suddenly coming home from the International Space Station because of a medical issue.
Yeah, undocking happened less than an hour ago, and here's video of it actually happening. Crew 11 was supposed to come home next month, but NASA says an astronaut needs some medical attention back here on Earth. Your Cape Canaveral community correspondent James Barbero asked space expert from CBS, Bill Harwood, how worried we should be, and should NASA make plans for deeper space exploration?
Should there be concerns about future missions in space if there's medical emergencies on the way to Mars, for example?
You know, they train for medical problems. They've got a full suite of instruments and procedures available to them on the space station. But obviously a major problem requires a quick trip back to Earth. And so that's an issue. That's something they're thinking real hard about, and what do they need to do to, handle any sort of emergency that might crop up.
Splashdown is expected off the coast of California around 3:40 in the morning. You can look for coverage on News 6 morning starting at 5 a.m. Well, it has been a year since Volusia County promised free beach parking for residents with auto-renewing passes.
But tonight, we're uncovering an issue in the system. Neighbors reaching out to News 6 saying their passes didn't auto-renew, leaving them with some surprise tickets. Our Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed went straight to county leaders with your concerns.
If you have a Volusia resident beach pass, make sure you do this ASAP. Log into the parkvolusia.org website and make sure your pass auto-renewed. You might have also received an email with the receipt. This is what my receipt looked like for my own renewal. But many residents tell me they weren't so lucky. These residents all reported online or messaged me that their passes did not auto-renew, so they were left with surprise costly tickets or turned away at the beach when they went to drive on.
Their pass is valid for 365 days from their original registration date, but now they're starting to auto-renew for 1 year at a time, up to 3 years.
Miranda Tressler from the county's Coastal Division says, as with any computer system, there could be the occasional glitch. She says citations can be appealed online. Just follow the directions on the ticket.
If your vehicle is registered or you think you have an incorrect license plate, put that information in the appeal box so that it can be reviewed by our office staff.
Now, some people's beach driving passes should have started auto-renewing in October. That was the 1-year anniversary of that program starting. Off-beach parking lot passes started January 1st. Going by those anniversary dates, between October 1st, 2025 and January 13th, 2026, the county issued over 10,500 citations in off-beach parking lots. More than 1,300 were appealed and nearly 800 of those were upheld.
As long as you register within 30 days of receiving that citation notice, we have a one-time waiver.
Keep in mind, these beach parking passes are only for Volusia County-owned lots that have these Park Volusia signs. They do not apply to city-owned lots like Flagler Avenue here in New Smyrna or the inlet parks. If you get a citation here in the Park Volusia lots, those can cost you up to $100. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
All right, turning now to our forecast. I think we have been getting ready for what's to come for the better part of a week now. Jonathan Kegas, you've been warning us. But there's a method to this, right? There's a front, there's rain, then the cold.
You got it. That's the exact order. So we have the front on our doorstep now. We have a little bit of rain out ahead of it. The rain with the front comes through tomorrow. And then this. There's the chill. It's back in the teens in Chicago right now. The teens in Minneapolis. 8 degrees above zero in International Falls as we continue to see just the start of this big round of Arctic air. That the source region is the Arctic. It will arrive in Central Florida, modified, of course, once we get into tomorrow afternoon and really settle in by the time you wake up on Friday. You can stay up to date with all the forecast changes with the free News 6 weather app and track these showers that we have out there now from about Jacksonville back down to parts of the I-4 corridor. It will be widely scattered tonight. Not everybody going to see it. The slightly better shot for some downpours comes along the front itself as it moves into tomorrow. So there we go through the overnight hours. You see the thick cloud cover remaining. And again, we'll see those scattered downpours likely for your morning commute. And then once we get into the early afternoon, the clearing takes place. There's 7 o'clock on your Thursday night. All the rain, all the clouds out of here. That's because the air mass is so dry and so cold. The temperatures are going to drop pretty quickly once we get into your afternoon. Look at this. If you're not looking at your TV screen right now, very nice outside. Live look with our Port Canaveral, Brevard County Skycam launch, Credit Union Skycam this evening. Beautiful color in the sky as the sun is setting. Temperatures back to the low 60s right now. The breeze on the lighter side, still out of the west, pumping in some of that moisture that gave us a few of those scattered showers through the afternoon and what we're still tracking out there tonight. Palm Coast, good evening. We are at 55. The Villages, we're hanging out at 57. Kissimmee, we are at 63 degrees. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
So it's not here yet. Tomorrow morning still on the milder side. We're a couple of notches above where we should be. The average is about 49. We're going to be situated into the lower 50s. The deal is we don't really move much tomorrow. Temperature is only going to top out in the upper 50s to right around 60 degrees with a mainly cloudy sky. Those rain chances that are sky high, most of those occur in the morning. They will be light and few and far between. Not really going to help the dry situation that we've gotten ourselves into too much. But nonetheless, we'll take any rain that we can get. But most of that should fall in the morning. And then the tumble comes our way. So by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're hanging out into the 50s. By the evening, we're still into the mid 50s. And then we really start to drop into the evening. By 11 o'clock, we're already pushing the upper 30s, and likely northwest of I-4, we are going to see the temperatures already dipping into the 30s because we are headed to the 20s northwest of I-4 by Friday morning. 27 in Ocala, 25 in Denellen. It's really northwest of I-4 if you have exposed exterior pipes that don't have any of that covering on it. You might want to think about doing it. We're likely going to be below freezing, especially in Marion and Sumter counties, for about 6 hours, and that's going to be good enough to cause some potential problems, again, if you're not letting the outside spigots run or covering them with some of that, the covering, again, you can get at the hardware store. 34 in Orlando, Titusville, we're going to wake up to air temperatures at 34. That's without the wind, by the way. And again, the hard freeze potential, 28 degrees or colder in this blue area, mainly for us along I-75 and then into Marion County as well. So just keep that in mind. That's going to get that cold. And again, none of that contains the wind. 58 on Friday. A lot of sunshine, guys. It is not going to be helping much. Deceptive sunshine. Temperatures do rebound back to the mid to upper 60s over the weekend. And then a secondary front, guys, comes in for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Cold to start, back to the low 60s, though, for the afternoon.
Don't let that sun fool you. All right, Sports Director Jamie Say is here.
Jamie, the Magic are getting Franz back, our guy.
Yeah, I mean, just in time for their game in Germany, too, right? Tomorrow, Perfect. The Magic tip-off in Berlin. That's Franz Wagner's hometown. He will be in the Magic uniform and healthy enough to play tomorrow. More details and Magic reaction coming up next. The Orlando Magic are a better team today than they were yesterday. That's because leading scorer Franz Wagner has been cleared to play again. Franz is set to return tomorrow when the Magic take the court in Wagner's home country, Germany, against the Memphis Grizzlies. He missed the last 16 games after suffering a high ankle sprain in early December. Tomorrow, special for Franz and Mo Wagner as the brothers take the floor in a Berlin arena in front of a German audience. Franz talked to reporters yesterday.
Really special. Honestly, a little surreal, and yeah, obviously want to make the most of it.
Before the injury, Franz was averaging a team-high 23 points per game, so the Magic getting offense and leadership back. The trip to Europe is a good chance for the team to conduct some international relations, create new fans, and get some wins. After playing in Germany tomorrow, the Magic and Grizz play again Sunday in London.
I mean, it's what we dream of. It's rare that we're able to get out of the country during the regular season, let alone play a game in front of our international fans. So I think it's going to be a great turnout. And then having guys like Franz and Mo, being in their home country, I think is going to be a fantastic atmosphere.
I mean, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. Hopefully we get out of Europe with 2 wins.
So the season is over for the Jaguars, but the work continues. It's even intensifying. The Jags' 13-win campaign came to an end Sunday against the Bills in the playoffs. It was Jacksonville's best season since 1999, and it came under first-year head coach Liam Cohen and first-year general manager Doug Gladstone. Today, the two said building this franchise into a perpetual winner is underway.
Extremely proud of a lot of the things that we were able to accomplish. Very proud of their response to adversity and to that want-to-know message and that next play mentality. And now the real work is here to where we have to go and reload it. We're not going to just stand here and say, man, we're just going to redo it all with all the same.
There is no room for complacency in sports, as we know.
Yeah, especially that one. All right, more news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Have a good night, everybody. Bye.